Night Modern, John Partridge, joined by Chris Wingrave. We made a absolute doozy to start with, and we forgot to hit the streaming button.
There we go. Well,
so we've been practicing, we've been talking for a very long time. We have a very interesting match, which we join halfway through, where we have our Dark Confidant on one side with the Scavenging Ooze. It's still game one. We haven't really done a lot, apart from lost a lot of life and played some creatures. And
yeah, Ethan was on Jeskai Ascension, which isn't Jeskai Ascension, it's Jeskai with Pyromancer's Ascension.
It
doesn't have Jeskai Ascension in its deck list. No. At least not in the main.
No, it's this is a deck much more focused on using the Pyromancer's Ascension to double spells like Lightning Helix, Lightning Bolt, Electrolyze, real proper value spells. And we see another thing in the ice here for Ethan. We see no life being lost as the Bloodstained Might is revealed to the Dark Confidant.
Fantastic. That's what you want to do.
Yeah. Well,
draw your land drops with the Dark Confidant instead of the other big costing cards.
Let's pull up the favourite of one of the staples of Modern for a very long time. Sometimes disappears, sometimes come back. And actually,
Dark Confidant.
we will get to the second question I have for you. But obviously, Dark Confidant, 1 and a black, 2/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand, and you lose life equal to its converted mana cost. So,
and the answer to the question, I think, is not Skrillex.
Not Skrillex. Yes. So, which is your favourite artwork, Skrillex or Bob Maher?
I have the old Bob Maher one.
Bob Maher. I do have to agree. Not a fan of Skrillex, if I'm honest.
But like the music, maybe not so much on a Magic card. Yeah.
No, definitely not as appropriate. But I think more than anything, the flavour text of this card quite true for the wonders of Jund. Greatness at any cost.
Have you seen Fifth Element as well?
I have, yes. A very long time ago, so don't ask me to pronounce it.
You know the evil dude with the funky hairdo?
Oh, right, yeah.
Take another look at Bob.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to, but I can see
Fifth
where you're
Element,
coming
very
from.
good film.
Yes. As we see Liliana of the Veil come down. -2, target player sacrifices a creature. Thing in the ice in the graveyard. A swing of 5 points of damage here from the Scavenging Ooze being pumped to a 3/3, eating the Thing in the Ice from the graveyard. Remember,
one of the Thing in the Ice,
there is another one still in the graveyard, and unfortunately Ethan being under the cost straight away from the Jund deck.
It's going to get some down for next turn, I think, is dead. Straight up.
I would say more than very typical of the Jund decks that we do remember. They play a bit of disruption and then just eat your face with some creatures.
Pretty much, yeah.
And Liliana, as much as we don't want to believe it, is still an incredibly powerful Magic card.
It's a very good Magic card, yes. It looked like, I guess the Lightning Helix does deal with the Scavenging Ooze here.
Yes, and I'd be very much I'd very much go for it straight away. It depends if you have another red mana, which would be very helpful to have, but we shall soon find out what
library
is looking at.
So the Thought Scour looked like it's been...
We have a Manamorphose, which is a good place to start.
Yes. Definitely want to see what cards you're drawing. What mana he's going to be holding up. I'm guessing it's red-white. Lightning Bolts, nice.
So you don't have another land, which is the only issue. So I think you have to kill both the creatures on board with the mana that you have available to you.
Depends what mana he used. So he did float red and white, okay, with the Manamorphose. Great. So
Scavenging Ooze.
Yep.
Which is true.
Which is great. So and it deals with the biggest threat that was on the board at this time.
Yeah, I think he was definitely hoping to draw either a red mana or the Path to Exile off that draw. So we're going to pass the turn back. Now, I think there's a backup Scavenging Ooze in hand, which would be fantastic here.
We can
see a Terminate. The reveal here for Rob. 2 life lost, down to 13. It's still quite a healthy life total, let's be honest, at the end of the day.
Pretty solid, yeah.
Versus 9 with the cards in play that you need. But we're going to see probably an attack. I would probably not fire up the Raging Ravine yet if you have things to play.
It would be a bit awkward,
hand.
yeah. However, if Ethan is bluffing that he has Path to Exile right now, then firing up the Raging Ravine isn't the worst.
No, but we're going to see it. We're going to see
a good use of your mana.
We can see Liliana of the Veil +1. So for those of you who don't know at home, her +1 ability is each player discards a card.
That's right.
Now, normally it seems pretty bad, but when you're drawing 2 cards a turn with the Dark Confidant,
not so bad.
It's not so bad. You definitely don't feel the.
Wow. So he's actually going to put Lightning Bolt in the bin there.
Wow, that is a brave thing to do.
Curious.
Unless
he has another one in hand. I don't think he had another one in hand.
No, I think he's got another Lightning Helix, a Faithless Looting of what looks like a Thought Scour. So we'll probably see the Thought Scour in the end step. Liliana of the Veil, for those at home, the 3 mana, 3 loyalty Planeswalker, incredibly powerful across.
Certainly,
and
it's powerful.
Remember, this is played in Legacy Vintage.
So he fires
Legacy
and the Raging Ravine.
So we just need the +1/+1 counter. Again, this is a deck that we haven't seen as much for a while. So let's go searching on our little card database for Raging Ravine. Now, I'm sure you know what it does. I'm fairly sure I know what it does.
It's a 3/3. Whenever it attacks, the attack trigger has to go on the stack, so it's not instantly a 4/4, but does become a 4/4 once the trigger resolves.
And Ethan all the way down to 3, flipping a Lightning Helix, a what looks like a
Vision from Beyond,
which does
draws 3 cards if you have 20 or less cards in your graveyard, I believe.
Very nice. or just draws 1.
It's make your own Ancestral Recall.
That's pretty good, but you need quite a lot of cards in your graveyard. But again, it looks like
this deck sort of,
Ethan's deck does look like he goes through it quite quickly, but he's already down to 3. He's taken a lot of pressure so far, and his deck really has fumbled around and not really done an awful lot.
It has in this stage, yes, and the removal spells for the Thing in the Ice really sets this deck apart from...
Yes, definitely.
Like, you got the solid removal there of removing the Thing in the Ice. If you can't deal with Thing in the Ice, then it can be a pretty big stop in everyone's plan.
And he never got to cast a spell to even try and take the counters off. It died both times straight away.
Every single time,
Fatal Push, Liliana of the Veil.
Yeah.
Pretty
Liliana is a fantastic answer to that Thing in the Ice as well. So
I think Liliana's a pretty good answer to his deck.
Yep, pretty much.
Discard spells against discard effects against a blue deck, and be able to kill the very few creatures that the blue decks do play. Which is why Liliana has always been a very good card against the control-ish decks, and even the ones that are trying to.
It's definitely ones that you fight against. You want to fight against the Liliana more than you want to fight against, say, the Bobs or the Huntmasters, for instance, or something.
So we're going to see the Lightning Helix take care of the Dark Confidant, a pass back of the turn. I think we might see the Raging Ravine go.
The Raging Ravine swing in, that's
put you down to 1, which means none of your fetch lands are then viable for you to use. It seemed pretty good last turn.
That's it.
Your opponent is now holding up an island with a Spire Bluff Canal.
And he has got another land there. The red producing. No, I mean the Jund player. If he has another land and bolt or something.
See
but
I think just attacking for 5 is pretty good. Your opponent has 1 card in hand. We're going to see an attack for 5 here. A second trigger on the stack, another +1/+1 counter. 5 points of damage to Ethan, down to
solid
1, and we're going to see
another Visions Beyond. Okay.
So how many does he draw? 1.
Just 1. I don't, obviously not so good.
That low. You can see a draw for the turn. Looks like a Serum Visions and a Sacred Foundry. So let's have a redraw of what we find. Draw for the turn. Looks like it may have been another land. Looks like a Thought Scour, in fact. So we're going to leave.
That's it.
We're going to pick him up.
That's game 1. Game 1 goes to the Jund.
Yes. Now, maybe not as surprising. Like, I think pre-board, if Ethan's deck can't get a quick start and can't contain Rob's creatures, the Jund deck always has an advantage.
Definitely.
All of its creatures are very good individually. It doesn't have any parts to power up with going, oh, this card's really good and this card. No, it's just all good cards. Scavenging Ooze, Dark Confidant, Tarmogoyf in themselves are all
fantastic cards. There's so much great in the Jeskai list as well. Individually, the cards are really good. However, there is still some synergies there, which if they do get broken up, as you can see, the Jund was really in control from the very early stages there. So I think Inquisitions and Thoughtseizers probably stay in this matchup. It's very vital to get rid of the
Liliana's pretty good
Pyromancer's Ascension as well.
Yes, that is true. Or just getting rid of the prominent spell at that point. A Path to Exile, because if you can ever make a Tarmogoyf 4 toughness, can't be killed by the Lightning Bolt.
That's right,
Or even 3 toughness with no instant in the graveyard, as we always do.
And provided that you can thoroughly kill that Thing in the Ices, which shouldn't be too much of a problem, then it seems like a good option.
I think generally the Jund deck's main deck's pretty good. Like, I can see maybe the Abrupt Decay's coming out. No, Abrupt Decay's good because it kills that. Maybe the Colligan's Command being the weaker of them.
Collective Brutalities in the side, I think he brings them up in this matchup.
Yep, I agree.
Seems like getting a spell out of the hand in life.
I just do remember Abrupt Decay kills permanence with CMC, non-land permanence with CMC3 or less, so that's pretty good against
Jund naturally beats Stormish style decks anyway, so I think this being a sort of a slight Stormy taste.
It's reliant on achieving a accumulation of cards that do the same thing.
Yeah, so I think it's probably going to be very tough for this Storm player to come out, but not impossible.
So let's look at the other side. So this Ascension Jeskai Pyromancer deck. So what sort of things do you think will stay in? I'm not a massive fan of Thing in the Ice. There's too many good removal spells against it.
So if he's Jeskai, I imagine he's got some form of graveyard hate.
Maybe a Rest in Peace.
I think that hurts him a bit more. There must be maybe Tormod's Crypt or something, or
Relic of Progenitus.
Surgical Extractions.
Surgical Extractions.
I don't think he wants Relics as much.
Relic is okay. Like, you can choose when you use it.
Yeah.
It depends.
No, that's true. You got better handle over when to pop it. And
I mean, I'm trying to think of the ones that are really good.
It might just be Relic.
Apart from Scavenging Ooze.
yeah.
Obviously, then.
But I mean, that's great as well to have it against the Scavenging Ooze. So if they do kill your creatures, you can target yourself. And
so we can also then look at things like if he's got any Celestial Purges, is obviously quite good.
Celestial Purge would be really, really good in this matchup. Yeah.
And And also just having the ability to get rid of some of the cards that aren't as good, like we're thinking of things like Lightning Helix isn't at its best in this matchup. Bolt, Path to Exile are probably your premier removal spells that you really want to see.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some Planeswalkers like Jace, maybe there's a Jace, maybe there's a Nahiri, something else to play different strategy.
I've played against Ethan before, and I didn't see any out of the 3 matches that we played. However, it's not to say that there haven't been any recent additions or some changes, or I just didn't see them.
Because he plays this deck quite a lot, which is the other thing to bear in mind.
Yeah.
He does play this deck a lot. It's his favourite deck. But it is all about the Jace. And it's always been about the Jace.
Yeah.
So let's see what we have now. We have a pair of Serum Visions, a Lightning Bolt, or a Blood Moon. Oh, didn't think about that one, did we?
Blood Moon. Yeah.
Now that is actually a very interesting one to bring in, especially against Jund. Because if your opponent plays around it, it's pretty bad. In this particular matchup as well, as your turn 3 play, I can see some good things about it, certainly, because it does lock up the manlands, like Raging Ravine. As we mentioned before, I thought Raging Ravine was probably going to end up killing him. It also did.
And it did. When I used to play Jund, Raging Ravine was the #1 card that killed my opponent, I think. There was nothing else that was sort of killing my opponent faster than Raging Ravine. But Blood Moon shutting that off is fantastic. And there are lots of duels, and but it does play between 4 basics, I think, Jund.
3 or 4 basics. So it's a couple of forests, a swamp. But it doesn't need to play any mountains because Blood Moon makes a mountain. So here's the interesting one. So your opponent's playing a Jeskai deck. Do you think they're bringing in Blood Moon? Probably not.
Probably not, no. But the Inquisitions and Thought Seizers.
Again, if he has
which are staying there.
You're always going to have them. So
you've got a good catch-all.
You do have to cross your fingers and hope that it resolves. But it's worthwhile if it ever does resolve. We're going to see a Scry and leave. And that is an Inquisition which has been left on top.
Then for the Jund, which it mulligans really well, I think, the Jund deck.
Oh, definitely.
Which is always a good thing in this particular sort of matchup, because each one of your cards is definitely going to be trading 1 for 1.
Yeah, and the flip side of it is he left an Inquisition on top of his deck. So hopefully he will not be caught by the Blood Moon this game. And if he leaves it in his hand, it does kind of signal that he has something like an Abrupt Decay ready to go.
Yeah.
But then again, I think you just
you have to keep the mana floating for... Yeah.
I think you just say, no, I'm just going to get rid of this card. It's too much of a problem. But we're going to see Serum Visions here to start. Interesting, different artwork, Serum Visions.
Thankfully, not the particular one of
not
F&M quality.
Not the F&M quality one. We're thinking of the... Is that Modern Masters
This one here
is the normal version.
The normal version.
The other one is Modern Masters, I believe.
It was...
Actually, we'll see if the card generator system comes up with it.
I have the newest one, whatever it is,
in
my collection.
I think I've got these ones that he's playing.
So he's got the old Inquisition there.
Very nice. I do quite like the older cards, though. Yeah, to be fair,
the Inquisition
artworks are quite nice. That is a hand.
So that's actually quite a choice there. If you've got another hand disruption spell, then I'm more inclined to take the Ascension.
No, he's got to take the Blood Moon. He doesn't have any sort of spell.
Yeah.
But this Pyromancer's Ascension could be pretty good next turn, especially
considering he's already got double Serum Visions in his hand.
Yeah, which is, of course, trigger 1, trigger 2. Especially
trigger 1 for the first one, and now trigger... Yeah, sorry, that's right,
So he's already has Serum Visions. In fact, here we go. Modern Masters 2017
yes, it was
the artwork for that one. See, a blue mana, draw a card, scry 2. What can you find to follow it up, Rob? Do you have a way of getting rid of this Pyromancer?
Overgrown Tomb, Abrupt Decay.
That'd be pretty
good. That would be good.
Or Greenland Abrupt Decay.
Greenland Abrupt Decay, yeah. That's
Not going to be fussy right now. Just give me a Greenland and Abrupt Decay and we'll happily move on with our game again.
The safest place for Blood Moon is always on the top of your deck, I think, against Jund.
Or in the graveyard, for if you're the Jund player. We're going to see a Scavenging Ooze to follow up, so no answer straight away. And unfortunately, it looks like this Pyromancer's Ascension could be triggering quite quickly. You see a Visions of the Beyond.
I think you just shoot it up right now.
Yep.
Shoot both of them up straight away.
It's not these 2 Serum Visions won't trigger it. It's the next spell after that.
No, it's the first one.
So the first one triggers it.
First one triggers, and then
the second one triggers it. Does it then copy it, or is it the next spell after?
It's only the second.
So is it the third
Once
spell?
You've got 2 counters on the Pyromancer's Ascension, then it starts copying the spells.
So it won't be the Serum Vision, won't be the next one.
That's right. Yeah.
It'll be the card after that.
And you can't counter the copies.
No, that is true.
You can exile them.
Can you not overload a?
You can overload and that counts with counter flux. Yes, that does work. So summary dismissal.
That is also
would work.
We're going to see another Serum Visions here. A tick up. We've got the Lightning Bolt in hand, which is going to make very short work of this.
That's a very fortunate draw.
It's a draw for the turn. Scry 2, we see another land off the top there for Ethan. Not too bad.
It looked like, only got a short glimpse, but it looked like there was a Keranos in there.
And the Visions of the Beyond.
Right.
I do like just bolting the Ooze and bolting
straight away.
Rob's face.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of these
cards. Don't give it a chance to exile anything.
Throw our cards over the table. But again, it's triggered now, so he has to find an answer very, very quickly, and we're going to see, it looks like a lightning bolt, remove the Scavenging Ooze, and also deal 3 damage to Ethan. So 3 to this, 3 to you. It's going to be very difficult now for Ethan to resolve.
That's right, he needs to have the Abrupt Decay off the top.
Yes. Pass the turn back.
Or a Maelstrom Pulse.
We see Liliana of Veil. That's pretty good, actually.
It's good when there's got no burn in hand, I believe, for Ethan.
He's looking at hand of blue cards and land. So he's going to look at what we've got in the graveyard, realise there's 3 Serum Visions there already. It looks like there might be a Thought Scour and a Visions of the Beyond. It's not terrible, it's a good way of getting back, so we're going to see what Rob has to follow. If he
Visions is still draw 2 now, effectively.
Of course, which isn't terrible. 1 mana draw 2, still pretty good.
Still seems good.
I don't mind actually throwing off the Thought Scour first. Try and fill your graveyard, try and do other things, but we see another Black Cleave Cliffs here for Rob.
I imagine he just jams the Liliana down. He's got an extra one in his hand, so...
Yeah. You also aren't losing it straight away. Yep. I think it's a good plan to do that. So we're going to see Liliana ticking up to 4 this time. +1 heals as a spare land in hand with the Verdant Catacombs. We'll see what he goes for. I think you pitch the land here if you're Ethan as well. Leave your 2 card draw spells in hand, allow you to refuel straight away after that.
I think so. It looked like a Nahiri, actually.
Okay.
That was in the hand of Ethan.
Okay. No, looks like Thought Scour Visions of the Beyond, I think. Definitely one of them's a Thought Scour.
See.
And the draw for the turn produces a Thing in the Ice. That's pretty good.
There's a Thought Scour, yep.
So
Thing in the Ice.
Yep. So I think we play the Thing in the Ice and we then do one of our draw cards.
Seems good. I think you want to chuck the... Yeah, definitely. Oh, okay. These are with the Thing in the Ice.
I think then you go for the... so does the copy of the spell trigger Thing in the Ice?
That's an interesting thing. So it's on cast with Thing in the Ice. Should we drag out Thing in the Ice now?
Yep.
I believe it's on cast, so the copies aren't getting cast, so it doesn't trigger the Thing in the Ice. That would be my understanding of it.
Yeah, that would be my understanding of it. So Thing in the Ice. See.
So
1 blue, 0/4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, yes. So
the copies aren't cast, yeah.
Okay, so it just makes a copy of and allows you to use it. We see looks like a Lightning Helix drawn there
and another Thought Scour.
Another Thought Scour, and obviously the Visions of Beyond in hand as well. Unfortunately, no land there.
She's counting his cards.
So it's.
So I think that was 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's about, I think, 12, 13, 14 cards in the library now, and the graveyard for Ethan. So soon...
Oh, that Thing in the Ice was gone.
Certainly not surprised there. Well, there you go. There's Dark Confidant.
That's pretty good.
That has actually changed the game now for Rob. He's got a creature on the board, especially a creature that gets him the value each turn. Yep. So the extra card draw is so important for this match.
This Visions of the Beyond could draw a lot of cards, especially this turn if he goes...
if he goes Thought Scour,
Thought
Scour first, putting in 4...
Yep, 4 cards.
5 cards, technically, because there's an extra one.
Of course.
That might be able to trigger the...
And then that draws 6 cards.
Then it draws 6
1 mana, draw 6.
Seems good for 1 mana.
It's pretty good.
There's not been a card like that for ever.
Well, I don't know. There's draw 7 for 1 black.
For 1 black.
Yeah, put Grizzlebrand into play. Draw 7. It's 1 mana.
Yeah. Or draw 14.
Or draw 14, or draw 21, depending on how much life you're on. It's unlikely you'll have that much life because you probably lost 8 for playing Grizzlebrand.
That's right, yes.
Obviously, the more legacy-esque players will know this one. So we have Lightning Helix. I think we'll just remove these 2 spells. I think that is the best place to start. You can see Lightning Helix trigger from the Pyromancer's Ascension, taking down both Liliana and the Dark Confidant. Obviously, dealing 3 damage to Rob and redirecting the damage. You can't actually directly target
That's
the
right, no, not
with
anymore.
Spell.
Not anymore.
You can with Hero's Downfall, Dreadbore and Vraska's Conviction.
That's right, yeah.
But not with the burn spell.
Well, the rulings have been changed on that now, haven't they?
Yeah, I think you can...
with Leyline of the Void... Leyline of Sanctity, where you can still target the Planeswalkers. Yeah, so there's been some slight rule changes on that.
Yeah, so we're going to see a Thoughtseize here.
Thoughtseize seems...
pretty rough.
Yeah, it's not the situation you really want to be in, is it? And
no, so we're going to see a hand of Visions of Beyond, Thought Scour, Faithless Looting.
It's got to be the Visions.
Yeah, I think that card might just make him a little bit too hard to beat. Obviously, the Faithless Looting is also going to draw a lot of cards as well. That's draw 4, fantastic. Discard 4, obviously. But 4, you get more of the information because you draw the 4 first.
That's right.
You draw 2, discard 2, draw 2, discard 2, which obviously means that you have that information up front. You're not discarding, you're not milling 2 cards and then going, oh, I've drawn a random card. You have a lot more information from it. So we're going to see a Thought Scour in the end step. He just take the Visions of the Beyond. Target myself. I'm going to mill 2 cards. We're going to mill a Blood Moon and a Spybluff Canal, drawing another Faithless Looting, the second copy of the thing, the spell going Visions of the Beyond, Thing in the Ice, and a
land, I think.
Scalding Tarn.
Scalding Tarn. So at least that's another land drop for Ethan here.
And a Lightning Bolt off the top.
Lightning Bolt seems really solid.
I think we make our land drop.
Certainly do.
Just have the options available to us.
Because we need another red source, really.
We need another red source. Or, yeah, and I think we do that first.
He's already put, I think, 1 Sacred Foundry in the bin, so...
Yeah. So there should be maybe another Steam Vents in the deck.
Probably another Steam Vents.
Yep.
I didn't see another Steam Vents going to the yard, so...
Or a Basic Mountain.
There possibly is a Basic Mountain in this list, yeah.
We're going to see a Faithless Looting to start, obviously trigger with the Pyromancer's Ascension. Draw 2 cards. We see another Pyromancer's Ascension and a Team of Battle Rage. I think the Team of Battle Rage might be discarded. Maybe the land. I don't think you can discard the land.
I think you discard the Team of Battle Rage. You're not on that plan anymore.
Pyromancer's Ascension.
Yeah.
Those 2 cards don't really do a lot. So you can see, both the cards get pitched.
It makes sense.
Copy of the spell.
Copy them.
Draw 2 more. We see Anger of the Gods Lightning Bolt. So that's now 12.
I think you throw the Anger in there.
Yeah, you probably
throw the Anger and probably the other Faithless Looting.
Yeah.
Because you can always flash them back later on if you wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. And you could do it this turn if you wanted to.
If you, yes, you could do. Yes, if he goes and fetches.
Yep, you can see Anger of the Gods, Faithless Looting here, and I think if you haven't discarded the land, you're going to play it this turn. So we see the Scalding Tarn into the battlefield, crack straight away. I think I agree. I think we're going to see
snap. No, Snapcaster Mage.
No Snapcaster Mage this time. It's interesting because I don't think you do the flashback Faithless Looting this turn because you're just going to.
I don't think you do this turn. No.
You're just going to draw and discard what you already have in hand.
That's right.
So I think you just say no. It's your go. Let's see what you play, and then I could have double bolt available to me.
That's right.
So needed.
And also sort of fake some form of counter spells, which the deck doesn't really play, but
who knows that?
It might like stall some amount of plays for Rob here.
It's going to pass the turn back to Rob. We see the Basic Mountain was the fetch there for Ethan down to
Coincidentally, now I think Tarmogoyf is now 6/7. I was just about to speak to this. It's a 6/7 because of the enchantment in the graveyard.
So we have instant land sorcery, creature,
Planeswalker,
enchantment.
So I was right.
6/7.
Yeah. So this is actually going to dodge the bolt that he has in hand.
I think Ethan's probably fine. I think he has enough in hand.
I think so.
Because you bolt in the end step, double the bolts, send them all upstairs. That's 6 damage.
Yeah.
That's down to 9.
That's
you
right.
only need to find one more burn spell in your deck, and things like Electrolyze do that as well.
So Electrolyze is with the extra draw as well. That's great. So he's going to do that. Yeah.
So down to 9 for Rob. We'll see what Ethan wants to do this turn. So he's going to untap his 4 lands, draw for the turn, finds a Manamorphose. That is a pretty good draw.
Very, very good. That's going to shove him up so high on mana.
Yeah, but you get to make red-white off of it, so you can use your
I think you tap an island and the mountain, and then you just go... Would you do red-white or...
I think you make red-white.
Blue or...
I think you make red-white just in case you draw...
Red-white and with the other copy of it?
Make red-white. So it's a draw of an island, and we're going to go again, and we draw a... Visions of the Beyond.
Draw 6.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And we have an island to play our turn out as well. So we're going to island and draw 6, which is pretty good.
That card.
Yeah. Visions
I mean, when it works, it works,
so
right?
He made blue with one of his Manamorphose.
Yeah, it's for the Manamorphose, yeah. Which makes sense, I think, because you have the excess mana, and he has quite a few blue cards that he could draw into anyway. So. And
it looks like we found a Lightning Helix as well as a Team of Battle Rage, and we're just going to throw 12 points of damage upstairs.
That's going to be it for the Rob then.
Bolt himself. I would kill myself in response. I will go down my own way.
That's it. That's what we like to see.
As we see the match score evened up at one game apiece.
Excellent.
A very good fight back there from Ethan. That Pyromancer's having Blood Moon and Pyromancer's Ascension was pretty good. That game was pretty good, and I think
Rob sadly didn't have any threats early enough that could survive the double Ascension triggers or the single Ascension trigger.
I think we also may see Rob go back to the sideboard.
Yep,
a bit more enchantment removal needed. I think
after seeing the Blood Moons and the Ascension.
Looks like he's bringing the Maelstrom Pulse.
I would love to see if he plays Golgari Charm.
Yes, definitely. Another good way of removing the enchantments.
And also regenerating your creatures.
That is also true.
If that becomes an issue.
That is also true. So we can see
I know as well that Ethan has access to Young Pyromancer, so it's a really good way of sweeping up. So if he does have access to the Golgari Charm, it would be a good thing to bring in right now.
I think Golgari Charm is enough of a hedge anyway, because it kills the enchantments to bring in.
Yeah, certainly.
The thing with Pyromancer...
Each charm is great.
Yeah, Pyromancer, young Pyromancer is also a way of just out-grinding the mid-range decks.
Yes, that's right.
Which isn't a bad thing either, so players are going to shuffle
I know
up.
Ethan does play with the young Pyromancers, so be interesting to see. Wasn't too much of an issue because the decks that I played him against was my Team of Moon deck and has access to Staticaster.
Yeah, is it Staticaster is a good card against 1 toughness spells?
Pretty
Especially when
good.
the 2-1s and lots of 1-1s were made. It's like, oh, you have a nice board, and it's all gone.
Yep.
Sorry about that. I really do apologise. So, players will be shuffling up for game number 3. Rob Hunter on his Jund deck will be back on the play against Ethan Stewart's. We're calling it Jeskai Ascension. Couldn't really think of a better name for it because I don't really know the deck that well.
It plays Jeskai colours and it plays Pyromancer's Ascension. It's not to be confused with the sort of, was it Fate Stitcher, Jeskai Ascension?
Jeskai Ascendancy.
Ascendancy.
That's Jeskai Ascendancy.
Ascendancy, that's
it's a slightly different name, fortunately. You almost gave me a heart attack on that one, thinking I've named a deck that doesn't exist. It's not, but no, that is Jeskai Ascendancy.
That's it, yeah.
Which is pretty good. That was
a fun deck.
That was also probably the most modern played one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It got many cards banned. That deck got a few cards banned from this format, definitely. So players are going to look at their opening 7, see what they want to keep.
I remember there was because I used to run Sylvan Caryatid as well in the 4-colour version.
Oh, yeah.
That was particularly spicy.
With the Gifts Ungiven package?
Yeah, that's right.
Gotta love it. So he's probably going to see both players taking a mulligan. Rob revealing he didn't have any black mana in his
black
hand.
Mana.
And also,
bad.
Ethan had no lands, which seems a bit more of a significant problem for the deck that's trying to get to 2.
I think Ethan really only plays 20 odd lands.
He still had no lands in hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
it's pretty good mulligan.
Shame Rob that stuff.
Shame Rob didn't have a fetch land in hand, but obviously not always.
Oh yeah, I mean you snap keep that with one of the lands being
fetched.
Yes,
definitely. Yeah. And we shall see what the players open up after their mulligan to 6. Obviously, Ethan being on the draw means he gets to make a bit more use of his scry, depending on what Rob draws as his opening card. We shall soon find out. Ethan presents ready to go for the next game. Rob having a quick final shuffle before presenting for...
So it looks like in the shop we've got around just under 20 players today.
It's not bad for a modern Wednesday.
Not too bad for the WNM.
For the WNM. WNM, yes. Wednesday night modern. Not Wednesday night magic. Wednesday night modern.
That's right.
It was like I tried to do one for the Pauper and just gave up. It was just easy to call it Monday Night Pauper.
Yeah.
It's much more fun.
Yeah.
So players are going to look at their opening hands, see what they find for them there. So let us see what we find for our opening plays. Oh, looks like Ethan wasn't happy with that hand. He's going all the way down to 5. Quick pile shuffle. Make sure he's happy. Make sure he feels that his deck got shuffled. Clearly no.
I think pile shuffle's the wrong word. It's pile stacking, right? Pile counting?
No, you are allowed to pile shuffle.
Once. And it's for counting.
No, you aren't even allowed to do it for counting.
But shuffle is meant to randomise your deck, whereas you can go back but you can
pile shuffle. You pile it around and then you shuffle it together.
Yeah, sure.
It's pile shuffle.
Yeah. If you do that, but then that's a
lot
longer
defeats the point of it.
Yeah.
So how many? So actually, there was something that was on YouTube. I do remember not long ago. How many times do you think you need to shuffle to roughly randomise your deck?
You've spoken to me this before. About 7.
About 7, I believe.
7 to 10.
7.
Makes sense.
7 odd shuffles. Standard 1, 2, 3 will randomise your deck to an adequate amount to have.
Unless you're Trevor Humphreys.
Let's not talk about that man. That man was banned for stacking decks. So. Down to 5 there. We do have a land, we have a Serum Vision, so it's pretty good keep there.
Got quite a few lands as well.
Looks like 2 lands.
There's a polluted delta, an island. And on the other side, we've got a fetch land, so that's always good.
Looks like we may have 2 fetch lands.
So Rob's got 1.
Yep. And he's going to pass the turn. Okay. So no turn 1 play, but that's not always a bad thing. We see another Serum Visions roll off the top. We're going to see the polluted delta cracked here for Ethan. I think he has at least 1 Serum Visions, maybe 2. Obviously, a good place to start when you have mulliganed to 5.
Seems like a solid choice. Yeah.
And it looks like this hand actually looks a lot better than the other ones we've seen.
It's
a solid 5. Like. People seem to forget you can win modern, you can win any format on a mulligan to 5.
That's right.
In fact, I watched a PPTQ final where the gentleman on Burn mulligan to 4 against Eldrazi-tron and won.
As long as you have...
Through a Basilisk collar. Turns out Skullcrack is a very good magic card against that card.
If you draw all 4.
He only drew 2 of them, which is still pretty good.
But sometimes that's enough, isn't it? Yeah.
It's still pretty good. So we're going to see a drawing of a Man of Morphos there, a Lightning Bolt as one of those 2 cards. I think you definitely keep one of those on top as a hedge against your opponent.
Lightning Bolts,
as a hedge against your opponent, just going, okay, well, I'm going to play this Dark Confident. However, if it is a scavenging, if it is a Tarmogoyf, then that Lightning Bolt looks pretty sad.
Actually, Ethan was the person who lightning bolted my Tarmogoyf when it was a 2-3, sadly. So let's hope he's learned.
So for those who don't understand what we're on about, Tarmogoyf and Lightning Bolt have a very interesting interaction. It's actually more the state-based effects thing, and this had to get explained to me. So a Tarmogoyf is a star power, star +1 toughness. So the star is equal to the number of different types of cards in your graveyard.
Right. Yeah.
Now, if you have a land and a sorcery in your graveyard, you're a 2/3 because you have 2 different types. You have 3 toughness. Now, if you Lightning Bolt, which does 3 points of damage, it doesn't kill the Tarmogoyf.
No.
Because how it works is that the Lightning Bolt goes to the graveyard, then the state-based effect is checked.
That's
so
right.
So bearing in mind it is a 2/3 Tarmogoyf with a 3 damage on it, and then when it goes to I'm about to die, oh no wait, I've suddenly got 4 toughness.
That's it. Yeah.
Spells and Tarmogoyf are very interesting under very different mechanics because it's the same with most. If you just path it dies. It's just safer. If you don't have if it's a 2/3 and you don't have an instant, don't bolt it. Just path it. It's much safer.
Yeah.
Just kill it that way. It's much easier. Or Mizzing Mortars or Flame Slash because that will kill it.
Flame Slash was around for Twin for those sort of days back then, but there's Dark Confident, but I think this Lightning Bolt's going to go straight towards it.
Yep, or he will try and land his Pyromancer's Ascension. Look like he actually kept Faithless Looting as the top card. We have a Mana Morpho, so maybe we do...
Is he going to just jam that?
Yeah, looks like he's jamming. Okay. That's brave.
That is brave.
So we're going to reveal the Tarmogoyf.
That seems like a great play right now.
And it looked like an Abrupt Decay rolled off the top as well there for Rob. And I'm quite a fan of if that was an Abrupt Decay just going. I'd like to remove this.
Yeah, I think you just do that now.
You've also fetched your basics, so you're insulated against Blood Moon.
There's some merit to maybe just jamming the Tarmogoyf down and leaving him to sort of cast these slightly worse spells right now to try and generate the value on the. He certainly can't go off with unless he draws.
Your opponent needs
an abundance.
But the thing, you don't have that many cards in your graveyard, so Visions of the Beyond still doesn't work. You need to have Serum Visions, plus maybe Faithless Looting to make that worthwhile and punish you particularly for saying, actually, you know what, I'm going to let you have it for a turn. And I think, as you say, like maybe a Liliana of the Veil here would be a really good play.
Yeah, would be great.
Are we going to see a Maelstrom Pulse instead taking care of the...
Maybe it was a Maelstrom Pulse you saw then.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Dark Confidant now actually going to start extracting value. Both players at 15 life at the moment. We see a Lightning Bolt there off the top. And we have, looks like, Faceless Looting, Mana Morphos, Visions of the Beyond, and a Serum Visions. Now, do you Mana Morphos now, or do you hold that one and hope you draw another Pyromancer's Ascension?
I think I Serum.
Okay, so we start with Serum Visions, pretty easy.
Yeah, I think it's a solid choice. And then you've still got the Bolt for later on and for the Dark Confidant. But I think you definitely start with Serum Visions here just to see what... And also try and hit your land drop more reliably, for at least if it's not this turn, then the next. I mean, there's some merit, I guess, to doing red and blue with this Mana Morphos.
Which is going to look like he's going to do. Like your Ascension's gone.
You just got to hope you draw a land. Yeah.
Well,
which
fun.
Better to be lucky.
Better to be lucky than good. That was a fantastic draw there for Ethan. It accesses him now to white mana, so his ability to path to exile and Lightning Helix is available now as well. And I think you do Bolt and
I think
Serum Visions.
You've got to do it right now.
Yeah, you don't want to let him untap and get another activation.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark Confidant.
I mean, there's this. Yeah. Okay.
The follow-up Tarmogoyf is going to be pretty good though, and I think you see the Serum Visions here as well. You don't need to fetch. You have blue mana floating, or hopefully he does.
Hopefully he does. I guess he could have floated. Well, he could have floated any colour, double red, or who knows.
I think you float red, blue at that point.
I think it would have been because you have those 2 spells for definite. Okay, so it's double red. Okay.
Interesting.
For the lootings.
Faithless Looting, draw 2, discard 2. With flashback of 3 mana, which does make this card even better when it gets to
the... It certainly is a good card,
the modern decks like Dredge and stuff, where it's really useful to have.
There is another deck that plays the Faithless... There's another couple of decks, actually, that play the Faithless Looting.
Dredge, Goryo's Vengeance, this deck.
This deck, yeah. Can you think of the other one that's getting played quite a bit online? The Mardu
Pyromancer.
Young Pyromancer, deck there. That's pretty good. Very solid, getting really good results actually online.
Yes, that deck has definitely been popping up quite a lot. Which is obviously a good thing if you're wanting to play Mardu colours. I just realised that I put that into the wrong box. Jack did that on Monday, and now I've gone and done it now, which is pretty awkward when you suddenly call your opponent Faithless Looting rather than their real name. But we see an untap here, and we're going to see 2 mana. We're going to see Scavenging Ooze and possibly the Tarmogoyf as well.
That's quite good, actually. I think, you just jam out both your creatures.
Yeah.
Very, very solid start to this turn. Because the Lightning Bolt, if he has another Lightning Bolt off the top or a Helix, that Skoos is going to die anyway. So.
But that is a 5/6 Tarmogoyf.
It's a very big Tarmogoyf.
So obviously, Faithless Looting there, a red mana, draw 2, discard 2. Great in the decks that want to fill up the graveyard, and sometimes decks that just want to get rid of bad cards later on in the match.
Yes, yeah. And as you noticed as well, Rob's been fetching for his basics.
Yeah, he's very, very aggressively.
So Blood Moon on this table does absolutely nothing right now.
Which is obviously a good thing.
It's fantastic for Rob if you're...
There we go. Tarmogoyf, the power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and it is all graveyards.
It is.
And its toughness is equal to that number +1. In fact, it is 1+ star, not star +1. It's
1+ star, that's it.
So it means it will always have 1 toughness no matter what part of the game you are on. So Serum Vision's there for Ethan. Going to have a quick look at the cards on top, decide what he wants to do with them.
Is there any other modern compatible Lurgoyfs? I can't think of any.
Yes, Phantasmal Image.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a Lurgoyf, it's a shapeshifter.
It can be, yeah, that's right.
I'm not sure, I think there was at one point, but I don't think it sees play anymore, and I can't give you the name of it at the moment.
I can't remember exactly either.
It's such a good name.
Does Chat have any idea of if there's any other modern compatible Lurgoyfs?
We'll have to wait and see if they come back with anything, but we're going to see Visions of the Beyond drawing another card here. I see a Pyromancer's Ascension off the top. It's a pretty good draw. Maybe a little bit too late, but we shall soon find out. There's a lot of cards in that graveyard. Maybe able to stack it, see what Robert finds. But Ethan's now going to take 7 damage. He has 1 turn after this one to find something to answer.
Yeah.
Let's see what Rob has. We're going to attack in for 7, the 2/2 Scavenging Ooze and the 5/6 Tarmogoyf. Ethan going to drop it down to 5 life. We're going to see a Raging Ravine.
I think it's just a replay of Game 1 again, isn't it?
So, and we see a Dark Confidant play for the turn.
When you got it.
Played off, interesting enough, played off both swamps rather than leaving the Abrupt Decay mana open.
I think that's the most intelligent choice, so you can get more activations of Skoos. Just to grow the Skoos out of range of double Lightning Bolts.
Yeah, and I think getting rid of Faithless Looting is a good idea there. You don't want to give your opponent too much value.
That's it, yeah.
Scavenging Ooze doesn't get any +1/+1 counters. It only gains a life and gets +1/+1 when it removes a creature from the graveyard. I do enjoy playing against Jund with my Nightfall deck when you activate Scavenging Ooze and remove your Courser of Krufix from the graveyard, and it shrinks by 2, and then you can get some really interesting blocks. It is so funny.
So yes, Sir Vestige just said a pretty good Lurgoyf is Terravor. Mutavor obviously as well.
Terravor is an old one.
That's an old one.
Oh yeah, Mortivore and Restore Balance.
So Mortivore I think was the old, and let's get it up on screen.
Well, let's try and see if the cards find it. Well, it's a good name.
In the Restore Balance deck, it plays Mortivore.
Does it find it? Does our card reader recognise Mortivore? It does recognise Mortivore. It is 2 black, star, so it's not 1+ star.
Yeah.
Mortivore's power and toughness are equal to the number of cards of creature cards in all graveyards and 1 black mana regenerate.
There we go. So Rob has not conceded. He's just.
I think Ethan conceded at that point. He conceded the writing was on the wall. He did get a counter on his Pyromancer's Ascension. Obviously not quite what he was wanting, unfortunately. Obviously back in the booth, John Partridge, Chris Wingrave taking you through our Wednesday Night Modern, and I think probably Game 1 and Game 3 more actually representative.
Yeah, when you're on the play with Jund is...
Yeah. And your opponent mulliganed to 5. It was a pretty damn good 5, let's be honest. But
Jund mulliganed to 6. Jund mulliganed to 6,
but then his opponent mulliganed to 5.
Yeah, so it's...
There was no discard spells.
No,
but just good value creatures, your opponent not finding what they need, and a Maelstrom Pulse to remove the Ascension at the point that it counted.
And that was the big thing to remove from that deck. As much as you can sort of, as Jund, you don't really care about the Thing in the Ice. I think it's probably fine.
True. Thing in the Ice, I think is removable in itself.
Yeah.
But it's not something that you want to risk too much, because if it ever does flip and it returns things to your hand, it's that point of the game where you just go, actually. Yeah. I might have just given him a 7 power creature and regretted it.
But I think Jund, even though on the flip side, right, it's still the 2 CMC, because they changed that relatively recently, didn't they? Because they did with Delver and
CMC equal to what the other side was. So Huntmaster of Fells couldn't be Abrupt Decay, was why it got changed.
Yeah.
Because Huntmaster is 4 mana and it can't be Abrupt Decayed on the night side.
That's the important thing.
Same with Voldaren Pariah was 5 mana, couldn't get Fatal Pushed for etc.
And Delver being repealed for 1.
Yes, it was 1 mana. Put your Delver back in your hand was
and draw a card.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good trade. I'm not going to lie.
Pretty good.
Put your 3/2 back in your hand.
Yeah.
But that does bring us to the end of round 1 coverage
yes.
from our Wednesday Night Modern. We'll be back very shortly.
Very shortly. Yes.
Looks like
with round 2, there is about just under about 20 people, just under 20 people playing tonight.
I was thinking he was still playing.
not still playing.
There's a few matches still going on. Looks like there's at least 1 control deck because I can count about 9 lands in play.
Grixis, I would try and get a meta breakdown maybe
we'll have
later on. We'll have to see. And
I'm not going to ask Bossman because Bossman.
Kiki Cord is back as well.
Felix has Felix brought his Kiki Cord.
We'll
see how it goes. He was on the bye, so he might be the feature match next round.
I think we've got a few Tron players in from the looks of it. We have
not the Tron. Actually, it'd be really good because it'd be something different to commentate on.
It is. That's right. Yeah, it's probably. I think Tron is. Would you call it a control deck or a combo deck? What do you think?
Or a mid-range deck that puts 7 mana into play on turn 3.
I think
this is mid-range. No, it's about
the
as mid-range.
Lands.
It's about as mid-range as ad nauseum is. I don't think it's a combo deck. I think it's a synergistic control deck because you do play a lot of. You play Oblivion Stone, but you have the synergy where you have to hit these coloured mana.
It's got some setup.
It does.
So it's got some element of combo in it.
Yes.
And it's one of those decks that you jam 1 card and you've lost the game, but in this current board state you haven't lost the game, if that makes sense. So they jam the Khan on turn 3 and you're dead. You can't recover from it, but you aren't dead for a long time.
It takes a while.
So
you can win through Khan. It can be done. It is a very big challenge. Don't get me wrong.
The Khan and the Yugen and the Utamog.
It's what the follow-up is. But anyways, that brings us to the end of round 1. We'll be back with round 2 very shortly. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all shortly. welcome back. Welcome. That was a minorly bit disturbing, I'm not going to lie.
I do apologise, yeah, for those that are quaking in their boots.
It was pretty good, though. I'm not going to lie, it was pretty good. John Partridge, Chris Ringgrave, round 2.
Let's get into it.
More blue spells, more powerful blue spells. Probably cryptics in both. I'm going to go with that one.
I can't wait to see some proper, good, control-y style magic. It looks like a lot of fun, so let's get straight into the booth.
I am in the booth. We're in the booth.
Oh, we're in the booth.
You mean the feature match area? That's feature match table.
There we go.
So we have James Beaton on the right. He is playing
the blue-red Ascension,
Blood Moon,
control, mid-range aggro. Yeah.
Pretty much hate on your opponent's mana base.
Pretty much.
His opponent, Ruhan Wang, is playing the very more typical Jeskai Flash. Geist of Syncraft, Spell Quellers, Snapcaster Mage.
Now, in James's list, I saw some spicy cards. Some trick binds.
Ooh, hello.
Trick binds. So if we get that on the stream, I'm
not going to change that one. Let's go with this one.
Change the name to trick bind.
No.
So trick bind, it's one of those split second cards. So split second's a really cool mechanic.
No, it's not a cool. No.
It's a lot of
fun.
Split
second is not a cool mechanic.
It's a lot of fun. So split second means that you cannot put any of the spells or abilities on the stack unless they're a mana ability. So you can actually float mana off, let's say, a Noble Hierarch.
Yep.
And you can counter a target activated or triggered ability, and that permanent can't then continue to activate or trigger or do anything except attack or block or whatever.
Now obviously bear in mind
the activation is.
Yeah. Now obviously bear in mind once trick bind resolves, you can then go on the stack again.
Oh yes, yeah.
But trick bind says no more else. It can
fun.
Also there is actually an exception to that rule.
There is.
You can use a certain card with, even after someone has split second, whenever says, you can't put anything on the stack, you can trigger your counterbalance.
That is certainly true.
It was funnily enough, the way that people got around Frozen Grip.
That's it.
Which was a split second, destroy target enchantment or artifact for 2 and a green. Then people just abrupticate it and you just went, well, I can't counterbalance that anyway, so what's the point?
The good old Legacy All-Star.
Oh yes, abrupt decay. We see a second land here. We see an
island.
Just
see a moon already been pulled right to the front there.
We can see what our plan is for this game.
Get the chat.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to pull up this card.
Well, I think most people know what Blood Moon does now. It's a very friendly card.
It's it's a pretty one. So this is the invocation version of Blood Moon.
Actually, that's probably the only invocation I do like.
Really?
Yeah. I think the other ones, you certainly wouldn't want Cryptic Command.
No, you can't really read that
invocation. Sadly, if you bring it up, it's going to bring up the newest one from the Iconic Masters. It won't bring up the...
Does it not?
No.
Mind you, the new Iconic Masters one, I was a little bit...
I don't mind it.
It's a little bit unsure. It's actually quite cool. It's like, no, you may not pass.
Yeah.
However, if you're looking at artwork, which is funny...
Let's see.
It depends which version of this one it brings up.
Probably the newest one from the Dual deck.
I hope so, because it's the best one. Yes.
Oh no, from the
No, do you want to know why this is the best one? It's because it's like this was reprinted just after Deathrite Shaman got banned. It's like no, Deathrite Shaman, you may not come. You must go back to exile and where you belong. It's just an ironically quite fun one. So we're going to see a 5th land here.
3 mountains right there.
It's pretty good.
He's hitting his land drops.
Looks like he has Spell Pierce in hand. Looks like he has a
Spell Pierce is an interesting card. Now I've been playing around with that recently, and I think the downfall now of Grixis, especially in London, there's not so much Grixis Death Shadow getting played.
Yep.
But in that matchup, it's fantastic.
Yes.
The Spell Pierce, just stopping those early Thought Seizers and Inquisitions on your turn 1 or 2, and stopping the Lilianas. It's such a vital card to have in that matchup. You don't want too many, because obviously towards the end of the game they're pointless, but certainly playing around with 1 or 2. So it's one of those cards that doesn't get played a lot, but is very, very good.
Yes, of course. So we look like we have a Snapcaster Mage, a Cryptic Command, and a Spell Pierce in hand for James. We see a 4th land enter the battlefield for Ruhan. He looks like he has a hand of very powerful spells.
Seems that way, yeah.
Many burn spells.
That's right. So the London meta right now is changing, I think. A lot of people have access to a lot of different decks anyway, and I think the Grixis Death Shadow, people are just getting bored with it.
Let's be honest.
Playing it and playing against it.
I think people have gone from Grixis Death Shadow to Jeskai.deck.
Pretty much. Yeah.
What's replaced Grixis? Jeskai. Yeah. More blue spells.
We only actually have 1 humans player in the room at the moment. I'm not sure exactly what score he's on, but
It's a really strange deck.
We just don't have humans in London. No. It's not a thing.
It's not filtered down so much, I don't think, with a lot of players. I think people are still erring away from that as they're not really sure what they think.
Strange, because you would think London being the huge sort of area that it is, that we'd have a lot of human players.
Yep. As
we have lots of human players. Just get that right.
That is true. We have many human players.
People playing the humans deck.
Yes, so that is true. So we're going to see a Snapcaster enter the battlefield here for
seems good
for James, countering the Spell Queller, and we're going to see an untap
Spell Queller, such a good
another
card.
land off the top here now. 7 lands in play for James. He has a Cryptic Command and a Spell Pierce ready at the go, but I think this Lightning Bolt might be fired off in the end.
I think it's going to get straight upstairs.
He's going to go, no, I will take 2 damage with my Cryptic Command to be able to play it through a Mana Leak from Ruhan. And we're going to see
a lot of sense,
attack for 2 here. Take the damage, I think. Far off my Lightning Bolt. Untap far off my Lightning Helix.
You're going to have to start getting some triggers on the Pyromancer's Ascension as well.
I don't think we're quite there yet, actually.
So Bolt on the Snapcaster Mage, that's a bit interesting. I don't think that's that important right now.
See Cryptic Command here.
Yeah.
I think you need... Oh, no.
Mana Leak?
Pay.
Ah, that's the Spell Pierce.
Mana Leak counters for 3, right?
Mana Leak counters for 3, yeah.
You just pay for it.
I'm guessing he might have... Actually, no, yeah, then you would lost to... Yeah.
Just pay for it.
Yeah, so that was strange, but there we go. That's what happened. So if you have the mana for it, yeah, maybe he just wants to fake that he's got Bolt or something.
You just pay for it.
But yeah,
I think you just pay for it. We see a Lightning Bolt off the top here for James. I want to go alongside his Misty Rainforest, which is going to play for the turn and pass the turn back. And he's going to crack it straight away and have a look.
Interesting. Let's see what happens here. He's going to go for another basic island? I think so.
You might go for
he's using now these unstapled basics.
It's a lot of money.
I like the mountain.
It's a lot of money.
I really like the mountain.
Interesting.
I think there's a cool looking mountain. Island? Not so much.
We have a foil island though. We have a foil unstable island.
2 foil unstable islands, I think there, which is...
I'm not actually a massive fan of the unstable lands.
I don't particularly like the island. The forest is pretty cool.
The forest is very pretty.
See, both agree there.
And also not very expensive, which is really nice if you're trying to build a deck out of them. But it's just never really appealed to me.
Yeah.
As a land type, I'm much more whiteboard basically.
Yeah, sure.
We can see Cryptic Command deal with the Blood Moon here.
We might just see if we can get them to shove their card at the top of the screen down.
So we're going to counter draw. So Chris is going to go and do that while we see the Lightning Bolt also take care of the Snapcaster Mage and an untap for Ruhan. His opponent, no cards in hand, Pyromancer Ascension, really struggling to trigger a pass back of the turn here. James going to draw for the turn, finds a mountain, not what he was looking for, and a turn pass back as well. Does Ruhan have anything to do in his end step, or is he just going to make the Spell Queller and begin the beatdown plan? The 2-3, obviously much better at countering spells, however, in this matchup, sometimes just better to make a beater. 2-3 is always a very strong card to have. We're going to see the players move their graveyards down slightly, and Chris return to the hallowed fountain. I want to say hallowed fountain. No, not hallowed fountain. Hallowed ground of the commentary booth.
He has a hallowed fountain.
He does have a hallowed fountain, which is obviously true, which is where I made my mistake. Instead of saying, actually, he comes back to the booth, we're going to see an attack for Snap 2
there we go,
with the Snapcaster Mage.
Now,
beatdown plan is on.
With this sort of control against control deck matchup here, whenever I've played sort of any form of control when I had my Teamer deck, I'd be Snapcaster Maging on turn 2 on the play.
Interesting.
It's a very... so the idea behind that is, provided that they've done it, maybe they've tapped out their mana or whatever, so you don't get spell snared, jamming the Snapcaster Mage very early on forces them to deal with it either on their turn, or you get free damage in every single time.
That is very true.
It's one of those interesting things that 2 damage over time, especially with the Jeskai decks that are shocking and fetching themselves with quite a lot, and they have no normal natural way of gaining too much life outside of Helix and stuff, which you've got your counter magic for.
Yes.
It actually does make quite a lot of damage over the course of a couple of turns.
It's very interesting.
And forcing for them to actually deal with the Snapcaster Mages. There we go.
Attack here for 6 from Ruhan, firing up the Celestial Colonnade. Obviously, we've seen a couple of the different manlands, both of them of
Manland Day today.
It's interesting enough that both of them are of the old school variety, rather than some of the newer ones, which have started to appear a little bit more in into the decks. We see game 1.
There we go, yeah.
James drawing another copy of Pyromancer's Ascension. Celestial Colonnade is a land that enters the battlefield tapped, as do all the man lands of the cycle of 2 colours.
Yes.
It adds white or blue, so it's a good fixing dual land, and then for 3 blue-white, until you end a turn, a Celestial Colonnade becomes a 4/4 white and blue elemental creature with flying and vigilance. And obviously, the critical thing being vigilance.
Now,
hint. If you have a spell and you want to make your opponent do it before they attack with this card, because otherwise they get to use that mana after they've attacked.
So important, yeah.
It's pretty good.
And I think the Celestial Colonnade's been fantastic, just dodging the lightning bolts that are now sort of slowly creeping back into the meta.
That is very true.
I know we were talking about it earlier. Push has been at the very top as the most played spell in Modern for a long time.
Grixis Death Shadow.
Grixis Death Shadow,
4 copies of that.
So now that it's on the decline, and Jeskai is now on the very top of being the most played deck around everywhere. So Lightning Bolt has now jumped to being the top again. So Celestial Colonnade is really good against that.
Yes, it is.
Dodging the Lightning Bolts. However, still not so good against
Fatal Push.
Fatal Push.
Now, do bear in mind, despite it costing 5 mana to activate, it is still a land. Therefore, it has converted mana cost of
0. Nil point.
0.
Yep.
And it means that Fatal Push can kill that very easily. It's the same with all the man lands. They all have a converted mana cost of 0. It's just the way that they work. So players go to the sideboard. Looks like the Spreading Seas may already be coming out. Probably not great against the blue-red deck.
So, yes. I can imagine the blue-red deck would bring in... I think he just actually had another round against Tron, and he had those trick binds, I think, was in a sideboard. So would you bring them up in this matchup?
No.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think it... Like, maybe you trick bind a spell queller trigger, but it doesn't feel great.
No, it still doesn't seem as good as it could be.
Whereas...
Fetch lands, I guess, is important.
Trick binding an Ulamog trigger seems a lot more relevant.
It's a lot of fun, yeah.
Like, I'm going to attack you for 10. Okay, but you don't exile 20 cards. That seems much more relevant.
Yes. Yeah.
But with oh, hello. That is an old friend.
That's Teferi.
Old friend.
Yeah.
Oh, love some Teferi. That card is brilliant. But we see, looks like we got...
So it looks like he is bringing in the trick binds. Interesting.
Very interesting. I'm not a massive fan of that card in this matchup because it doesn't actually hit, I don't think, what you want it to hit.
I think he's more going for the turn to get your land sort of thing.
That is also a possibility.
Or your fetch land, that is. The activation of cracking a fetch land and stopping that.
It's a very expensive stifle.
It is an expensive stifle, but it's one that can't be countered. Because I don't think this... Wang is playing the counterbalance, as we mentioned earlier. So
no, I'm also not particularly interested in it because you can possibly trick bind a Geist of St. Truff trigger. Maybe you. It maybe has more application than we're thinking because it also targets Snapcaster Mage. But again, are you just wanting to play better cards? You're
probably just better off countering the Snapcaster Mage.
Teferi, I like it.
Teferi seems very solid, and it's always been great in the essentially a mirror matchup, a control mirror match. Yeah.
Teferi
is a fantastic card. So it means that it's got flash as well, right? And it's triple blue.
It definitely has flash. It is a 2 blue 3/4.
Yeah.
As we'll hopefully see when the card comes up. Teferi, Mage of Zofir. It is a 3/4, 2 blue flash. Yep. Creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield have flash.
Yep.
And each opponent can cast spells only at any time he or she could cast a sorcery.
So stopped counter spells from your opponent.
Do you know what? This was really good when you were playing Control Scape Shift. You end step this and they couldn't counter your Scape Shift. It was also pretty good.
Back in those sort of Rogue Scape Shift days, I do kind of miss those days where there was Rogue and they had...
My sideboard tech was so good.
Yeah. The Rogue Scape Shift days, that was with Birthing Pod, Twin...
Yeah, and that's when it was really good.
To some extent, sort of the...
Dig Through Time.
Yeah, the Infect as well. I remember playing Infect with Treasure Cruise.
Yes, that was a very silly Magic card.
Through the Breach and Emrakul.
It was pretty sad times.
So I see lots of these Blood Moon decks, they are playing through the Breach and Emrakul. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's a very good plan of winning. It's it is 5 cards of your deck.
Seems...
It's also not taking up a lot. It's not taking up a lot of slots to put some very powerful cards in your deck.
No, that's right.
And
so you do 3 and 2? Or are you doing 4 and 1?
4 and 1.
You're doing 4 and 1?
I think 4 and 1. Like, I think there's enough.
You just don't want to get the... I guess.
Like, you also...
You have to have the Emrakul in your hand.
You're also playing the Hiri as well. Is another reason to play that deck.
Yeah.
That is also she's also a very powerful Planeswalker in Modern because of the filtering effect, and also she comes in at a ridiculous loyalty. She comes in at 6. She comes in at 6 loyalty, I think, and goes straight up to 8, and ultimate's at 10. Like, she's a... We'll actually pull her up because this card.
I think through the Breach and Emrakul combo, myself personally, I wouldn't play it because it's too. reliant on making sure that you get both of those cards to finish off the game. I know, like, essentially that you can win the game without playing those cards.
I'm just not.
But having them in your deck, it seems really tough to get it to work.
Sorry, 4 loyalty goes to 6. Still pretty good. 4 loyalty is a lot of loyalty in Modern.
It's that white mana cost there as well, which I think is a bit of a of an issue. You'd have to be forcing yourself into Jeskai, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but playing that with Blood Moon can be an issue. So,
but you can play Red-White Prison instead.
You can play Red-White Prison instead. That's right.
I think, in terms of decks, I don't think you could convince me to play a Blood Moon deck full stop with a main deck Blood Moon.
So I was playing.
However, what you could convince me to play a deck with a main version of
Blood Sun
is this one. Could definitely convince me to play a main deck version of this card. That was nearly. You could convince me to play this in Modern as a main deck card in a Tron deck.
Now, yes. Definitely.
This card's great.
I mean, you'd have to just try and get me to play Tron first, which
you can get me to play Tron. You can definitely get me to play Tron. Wow.
It's a trouble for me.
Wow,
there you go.
turn 1, counter your Relic of Progenitus with my spell here.
Seems good.
Seems pretty good. We see the Mountain, and we see a Thing in the Ice to follow up. A good follow-up play, especially as a full toughness card. Pretty difficult to deal with.
It really is hard to deal with unless you've got the pass, but you don't want to be ramping this early in the game anyway.
So we see a Flooded Strand into play here for
So Thing in the Ice, it starts with 4 counters. So it's going to take 4 spells from James here to flip the Thing in the Ice, if that happens at all. We shall see. But
no, we have dueling unstable lands. What is this? What is this heresy and nonsense?
So mismatch lands, yeah.
Oh, I love mismatch lands. It's great.
It's just a shame they're not white-bordered.
Oh, the white-bordered lands are still the best.
White-bordered mismatch. And do the Adrian Sullivan, just show them to your opponent.
Upside down.
Upside down, yeah.
The revised white-bordered islands are beautiful. It's a very pretty land.
So he's got a backup relic. Or is that in his graveyard? No, that is in his graveyard. Okay, right.
So we have a couple of lightning bolts. It looks like on the far side we have a cryptic command, a mana leak. It looks like a trick bind by the looks of it. So maybe we can get our opponent with it. And what looks like another blue card at the end.
I want to see trick bind go off here. Blood Sun, though, I think is so powerful within those Tron decks. There we go.
So we're going to see another.
Crack the fetch.
Fetch land here. Fetch land off the top we see. Oh, hello. That is a Sphinx of the final word, sir.
A Sphinx of the final word. So that's getting some play actually in Modern with the As Foretold Living End decks, whether they're blue-black or straight blue. That's a pretty funky card.
Oh dear. As Foretold, Living End. Sphinx of the final word, 7 mana, standard all-star for control. Because it cannot be countered. It has flying and hexproof. And instant or sorcery spells you control can't be countered by spells or abilities.
Oh no, so this isn't the one that's from the Living End.
No, I believe that is Curator of Mysteries.
That's it, yeah.
The 4 mana 4/4 Cycler.
Right.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
I think it's 4/5.
It's a 4/4 with.
Is it 4/4? Yeah, okay. No mistake then. I just had a feeling that I could have.
It's good in Drakehaven standard.
There, yes,
Drakehaven control.
Sphinx of the final word. So that's
Curator of Mysteries. 4 mana 4/4.
Yeah.
It's pretty good
You're
rate.
Right. Yeah.
Whenever a card cycles or discards a card, you scry 1, and it sucks 4 more mana, which is also pretty good. And it is a 4/4 flyer, so it's pretty big.
It's particularly good. That's right.
Yeah, so
instead, nothing here so much.
We're seeing
so
a lot of blue cards there in the hand of James and his blue-red moon deck.
Yeah. So my blue-red moon, or my team of moon deck, has seen a fairly large amount of play in this shop.
Because you lend it to people.
I play a lot as well.
That's fair enough. We're going to see Geist of Sintraft.
I think we're going to see one try and resolve.
It's a pretty good threat if it does resolve.
I think you mana leak and then you trick bind when he goes to fetch.
Yeah.
Because you've got another backup mana leak for whatever he wants to choose to do.
Which would be pretty good. So this would be,
there we go.
You have to do these one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
This is a second trigger, so he's going to do it on the Scalding Tarn. So you still do get 1 land. Because obviously you have to take it back and do it one at a time. So
that's right, yeah.
Scalding Tarn gets trick binded.
So everyone was just shortcutting here because he figured there wasn't any response to. Normally there wouldn't be in this particular, unless you got Shadow of Doubt.
Shadow of Doubt is pretty good.
That's a pretty fun magic card.
And
Quite
then
an expensive magic card.
Let's go back and do this properly. Which is why, ladies and gentlemen at home, you should always fetch one card at a time. Or don't shuffle your library, but fetch once, do the card, fetch the second time, because then you are doing it correctly, and it means that this doesn't happen where someone Shadow of Doubt you and lose both your lands.
To some extent, if you're playing against Ruan here as well, you would crack your fetches once at a time as well, in case there was some form of Aven Mind Sensor.
That is true.
As well, which is a possibility.
We also have another copy of Cryptic Command drawn by James. That's now 2 Cryptic Commands. Looks like a couple of.
So that go straight to the bin, interestingly enough. But does fetch up a basic Plains here. So the Blood Moons that come out from James are just not going to do much.
Yeah, so we're going to draw another card.
If anything.
See a Logic Knot, the draw there for Wang's Jeskai Flash deck. We'll see a pass back the turn. Are we going to see anything done in the end step? Maybe we see a Cryptic Command cycled, because at least we try and flip this.
I think so. Yeah, I think that would be.
Ice.
Yeah.
No, we're going to see
Teferi.
We are going to see Teferi in the end step, which means you need to counter this spell or.
So he's got Logic Knot.
Yeah, I think Logic Knot's the place to start. Tap both our blue islands. Probably use the graveyard. You've got a lot of things. Maybe. I think that's a bit brave. I think you have to leave up 2 mana.
I think
you have to leave 2 mana open.
3.
You have
two for the spell pierce. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
You have to leave 2 mana open here, because then you don't get spell pierce. But
that's
again, we can just see him delve 2 cards from the graveyard, play for Logic.
Yeah, I mean, it's no cost really to this Jeskai deck, and
you have a land and a Geist of Saint Traff, neither of which card does a lot. We see Teferi being countered, but obviously a good fight in the end step. We see a mountain off the top.
So he must have a big payoff card for this turn, which I guess would be, I don't know. I would have thought Teferi would be one of the important cards you want to keep up in this match, but
no, a pass back of the turn. Nothing.
He should lose a counter as well on the. Oh no, it's not.
No,
it's not. It's sorcery. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's Teferi.
So we're going to see Serum Visions here for James. We might see a Cryptic Command. That's pretty.
It's funny.
I think it's not too bad either, because your opponent doesn't have triple blue. We're going to see a Mana Leak and a Snapcaster Mage as the 2 options to score. I like keeping the Snapcaster Mage, but we do need to find some more lands.
We do need to find some more lands, that's right.
A few more lands.
Although once this Swing in the Ice does flip, it's a big, big threat. It's going to end the game so quickly.
So it looks like
but it's a D-Sphere in his hand. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good card.
It's a very good card against it. Yeah.
It does answer a lot of issues. We're going to draw, and we're going to see a Mountain in the battlefield and another pass of the turn back. See a Spell Queller in the end step this time, but I think we're going to see a Cryptic Command this time.
Cryptic, and I quite like bouncing the Celestial Colonnade here as well.
He's going to go for counter draw.
Counter draw, okay.
I think you're. Yeah. Oh, that was a Sphinx. Looked like Sphinx of the final word just rolled off the top. That's a pretty good answer.
There's a counter now is on 1, I believe.
It is on 1 counter at the moment.
So 1 more spell.
This Sphinx is going to be quite an interesting card to see how Ruhan deals with it, because James is still at 19. Still a lot of life.
Yeah, exactly.
And his Cryptic Commands are soon about to be uncounterable.
Yes.
Pass of the turn back to James. I think you just untap and play your Sphinx. Yep. We're untap. We're at 8 lands. That's our 9th land. And I think we may be seeing the first modern play that I have ever seen of Sphinx of the Final Word.
Sphinx of the Final Word. There we go. Should we go back to that one and have a look at it again?
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's flying hexproof, can't be countered, and your instants and sorcery spells can't be countered either.
Oh, we have a reader over here as well. I'm having to have a quick read of that one, as we will show to the viewers at home. Again, it is a 5 blue 5/5 flying and hexproof. It's pretty hard to kill anyway, and then it's uncounterable.
Yeah.
And make sure the spell's uncounterable.
I think I really like this card as your finisher, right?
Oh yes, definitely.
And since you're not in white, blue and white, you can't play the Dragonlord Ojutai, which I think would be a slightly better card.
Yep, that's true.
However, this is fantastic for what it can do.
Good rate.
Yeah,
and also the fact that it has the can't counter your subsequent spells in terms of instants and sorceries. We see Cryptic Command. We're going to bounce the thing in the ice and draw a card. It seems like a good time to do that. We're going to draw a Spell Queller off the top. Yeah, let's have a quick check one. No, that is hexproof.
Just check again. Yeah,
you can't burn that one out, unfortunately.
Unless he's brought in something like a Blessed Alliance, which I doubt. This card is bolt your face.
See the bolt's going upstairs now.
There
he realizes. I think he realizes this is a race that he has to try and win.
You got to switch the tune now, and you just got to go straight to the head.
We see another land roll off the top.
It's got some fair amount of burn here, but these Cryptic Commands, the Ward of Lands, just untap.
The lightning bolt off the top is going to help that a little bit against any of the random creatures that do get played by Wang's Jeskai Flash deck.
James is going to sort out his lands here for us a little bit, and so they're at least a bit visible. I think there are a few people that run Merfolk. Yeah, so there's a few people in the shop that do run Merfolk. I don't think we've got any here today, but we'll have a check. We should hopefully try and get a list of decks getting played at the moment. It looks like the person from last round that was playing Jund is
still playing
Jund. Well, there's no surprise there.
No surprise there. What's he against? Can we see
let me just go and have a look.
We'll find out later.
I'll go and have a look around and see what we've got for decks.
So we're going to see. Looks like a Lightning Helix will soon be going upstairs. We're going to Lightning Helix upstairs. James down to 13. We're going to see some mana being tapped maybe for the Cryptic Command, or is he going to hold it back and allow that to resolve? Yes. James down to 13. Wuhan back up to 16. Lightning Helix, obviously the red-white instant, deal 3 damage, gain 3 life, which is obviously very good against the aggro decks, but also trying to win a race of attrition like this. We're going to see a cracking of a fetch land here, and we're going to see a Snapcaster Mage on the response from James. I imagine we're going to see him target the Trick Bind here. There's a pretty good answer to this, but we shall soon find out. What do you have as a backup if your opponent decides to cast this Spell Queller instead? Because obviously Snapcaster Mage is counterable, bearing in mind it is only a creature, not an instant or sorcery. I think you might just let this go from Wuhan and say, okay, that's fine. But I suppose at this point you probably need the red mana, so I think you may fight over this one. But we're going to Spell Queller in response, see if we can deal with the Snapcaster Mage. Yes, we're going to Spell Queller and target the Snapcaster Mage. That does mean that it can resolve. I think there's a Lightning Bolt in hand, which is pretty good here. We're going to see Lightning Bolt target the Spell Queller. That is down, which means the Snapcaster Mage is going to resolve. I think we're going to see a target Trick Bind.
Yeah.
Against this
Can't counter that.
No, you can't counter that one. Either way. Split second and swings to the final word. And Mr. Wang down to
I think
10.
James is going to be finishing up here. So just a quick rundown of roughly what we've got in store right now. Okay. On table 2, we have Affinity against Abzan. It looked like straight Abzan.
Okay, cool. That's pretty good. Interesting. Lingering Souls are very good.
Lingering Souls. I saw Lingering Souls and
Abrupt Decay by any chance?
No, I just saw Lingering Souls. No, I saw Lingering Souls Collective Brutality. So that sort of synergy going off is pretty good. It looks like it was the second match, and it's especially against Affinity of removing the creature and getting other stuff.
What is our Jund?
Table 3. Jund player is actually against humans, so we might try and see.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get the humans deck on if it wins this round, because it's obviously won its last round, so
that's pretty cool.
We shall see. And on table 4 we have Grixis Death Shadow against Kiki Cord, so Felix from last time. I don't know if anybody was watching last time who was on the Kiki Cord deck. He's actually lost against Grixis Death Shadow, so Shadow's the one person that's playing Grixis Death Shadow in the stock right now.
Still a good card as it turns out.
And there's a smattering. We have a black-red Madness Hollow One deck as well. I'm not sure how well he's doing.
Counter Cryptic Command. That Dispel doesn't work.
Oh, what was he trying to resolve?
Looked like a Cryptic Command. Just go and check that. It might be worthwhile to go and check that one before the players get too much further, because Cryptic Command cannot be countered because of Sphinx of the Final Word. So Chris is going to do his best judge impression and go and check that the players are working properly, as I think they've worked out themselves that you can't actually counter that spell. Chris is about to probably dive into and realise where he can. Yeah, that Cryptic does work the way James hoped it to. He counters and draws into an Opt. A very good draw there off the top, allowing him to hopefully filter for some more spells. They saw it just as you turned up. It's quite funny on camera. It's like, oh, they found it. Oh, no, Chris isn't there yet.
Dun, dun, dun.
It was a good draw. We found an Opt. And we have an Electrolyze and an Opt in hand. Okay. Pretty good. So I think we cast both of these on the end step and get 2 new cards.
I think you have to, right?
Yeah, so I think we're going to see the Lightning Helix deal with the... I think you might...
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. The thing in the ice, if it flips, it's going to bounce the Sphinx of the Final Word back to the hand.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We're going to see a... what? Hey? I suppose it doesn't get any life, so he's going to deal 1 damage, draw a card, and flip and return. And draw a card. Yeah, it's too many things to do here, boys. But we know what he's trying to do. We're going to make it into 2.
Well, it's still going to be a 7-7. 7-8, sorry.
What is the flip side of Thing in the Ice?
Awoken Horror.
There we go.
I've got a play set. They're pretty fun, actually.
Oh, must be nice.
They're very, very good fun cards.
I don't really see that card ever really flip, so I couldn't really tell you that one. Awoken.
So I think it's Awoken Horror. And it flips, and it puts everything that's not a horror back to the hand. And the one time...
I think it's worded more than that. Awoken, yeah. So,
return all non-horror creatures to their owner's hand, yeah.
When this creature transforms into Awoken Horror, return all non-horror creatures to their owner's hand, which includes your own spells, and it is a 7/8.
Yep.
Have fun killing that, Mr. Jeskai control player.
Path.
Path is pretty good, yeah.
Or this Detention Sphere.
That is also pretty good. And
I think you jam now, right?
It's a very good target. And obviously, bear in mind, Awoken Horror will get flipped back into Thing in the Ice under the Detention Sphere.
It will
if there is any way that he can remove it, he will not get back the Awoken Horror.
Do you know
Thing in the Ice?
What horrors are in modern play right now?
Oh, good goodness! Really? You're going to test me on that one?
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue. Awoken Horror.
Well, Awoken Horror. Obviously, the flip side of Thing in the Ice is still a horror. Which is good. But there is one big one that was...
Phantasmal Image.
Fantastic. If you copy this one, right, yeah, sure. One big one that was seeing quite a lot of play when Infect was around and is pretty good against Boggles.
Phantasmal Image.
Pretty good against Boggles as well. Spellskite. It's a horror.
Oh, yeah, it is a horror. That's terrifying.
Also, the Phyrexian Overlord. Not Phyrexian Overlord. The one where if you deal damage to the creature, you have to sacrifice that amount of permanence.
Phyrexian Obliterator.
Obliterator, that's it. Phyrexian Obliterator is a horror.
Black. So 4 black.
4 black.
5/5. Phyrexian Obliterator. So.
Which, funnily enough, Phyrexian Obliterator has probably played more in this shop than...
Really?
Yeah.
I have never seen that card.
Have you not?
Never.
No? There's quite a few players that...
I've seen it on the SCG once when I think Brian Kibler played it, or played against it with his... Because Brian Kibler was...
I mean, I'm talking about in this shop.
Oh, yeah. No, I've never played it against in this shop.
There's a few mono black, Devotion, and 8-rack players that have them floating around.
Pretty nice. That is a pretty good draw. It was an opt into an opt. It's pretty good. I think he's looking for a burn spell. So it looks like we have a double Snapcaster Mage in hand. Looks like we're going to untap. Let's double check. We could just snap. Fairly sure we just try the Snap Bolt and then untap and Snap Bolt.
I think Death Shadow is an avatar, not a horror.
Let's have a look.
I believe it's an avatar. One of the only avatars in the game as well. It
depends if I've spelt it correctly. Whether the card reader recognises it or not. Yes, we spelt it correctly. I know I spelt it correctly. We're going to see the player. We're going to see
Mr. Wang picking up his
cards. One game a piece as we go on to game number 3.
Fantastic.
Blue, red, Moon, Ascension control against
Midrange aggro.
Midrange aggro.
Lantern.
Lantern. Oh, wow, that's a spicy one. We see
you know what I played about 2 weeks ago? Played Lantern Tron. It had Tron, it had the Khans. He tried. It didn't really work.
Okay, sure,
but
that's fine.
It was an interesting concept, and it was something good to see. It had the Ensnaring Bridges, it had the Khans, it had the Ugans, and
love it.
The Lantern Control.
Okay, that's pretty
essential stuff in there as well.
Just with some Khans and some Ugans and some
Tron lands. Yeah.
Because why not?
It had maps and stuff, so it was a slow building Tron, but once it got there...
When in Rome.
Yeah.
So we can see a few more sideboarded cards here from Mr. Wang. Looks like he did bring in the Blessed Alliance and maybe the Settle the Wreckage as well. He needs some way of killing that flyer.
Settle's a pretty solid option.
Settle is a good option, as is Blessed Alliance. Able to get rid of Sinks at the final word is the most important thing.
It's, the most important thing. Blessed Alliance is going to be a bit tough if he has another creature to go along with it, but I think Jeskai runs enough control.
Exactly.
Jeskai runs enough removal spells to just deal with the other creatures and Blessed Alliance in the same turn. So.
Exactly. And it's something you probably need to take the risk on, but we're going to also see Supreme Verdict being boarded in. Now that is a very good answer to both the Awoken Horror and also the Sphinx of the Final Word.
So I think James's deck doesn't really burn you out, does it?
No, we've seen Lightning Bolt and Electrolyze. And the Electrolyze. That's it.
That's it, yeah. So you can kind of play the safer game, I think, with...
Blood Moons.
And the Blood Moons, sure. And that can be a bit of an option of pain, I guess.
So it's interesting to me that... So it's interesting that he's actually playing the Pyromancer's Ascension, because it seems like it doesn't ever really trigger, and it doesn't really give you that much, because you're not playing like the real payoff cards like Visions of the Beyond.
Draw 6.
Yeah, like and all the other burn spells. You're not playing a huge amount. You're playing much more of a control deck, which is one of those things that isn't... It's a bit not counterintuitive, but it's definitely... Sorry, excuse me. Where did that come from? But definitely a bit different. Excuse me. It's definitely a bit better or not. So... Players are going to quickly shuffle up for game number 3. 1-1.
Let's see. It's going to be a tough decision, I think, of who to choose here.
I'd like to go with the blue with the Jeskai deck because I think playing white gives you a lot more options. But
yes.
again,
a lot more solid removal spells. Yes. You've got the verdicts as well to deal with the tricky cards like
Settle, Blessed, Half, Bolt, Snapcaster,
Teferi.
Not well, no.
It deals with Teferi.
It does deal with Teferi, which is the important thing. You do need to deal with Teferi straight away.
Yeah,
otherwise
you don't want to give the option of. Well, I mean, it can't be countered, right? So the Supreme Verdict is, ideally, yeah, sure, but failing that, I think the verdicts are going to be very good in this match.
Do you know what was really good with Teferi in my Rugscape Shift deck?
I have no idea.
Well, it cost 2 Rug, was a 6/6, couldn't be countered, and had Flash. And it beat up many Scapeshift opponents in that tournament.
It cost 6.
It cost 5 mana. So
5 mana. Oh, the Surak. Yeah.
Surak Dragonclaw them.
I won
so many games in the mirror. Well, I just went. My opponent's like, "Oh, doing these things make Surak Dragonclaw on your end step," and he's can't counter that one. Attack for 6.
It makes your other creatures gain trample and can't be countered as well.
Yes, yeah, so then you can add an uncountable Teferi. But it was more the fact that you put a 6/6 into play that they couldn't kill straight away, and then you just beat them down with it. Because you bought it out all your lightning bolts because that card was terrible.
Yeah.
You never needed that in the mirror.
The creature matchups became really worried about what creatures you'd bring in, like in that sort of particular.
So did the control
yeah, exactly. Obstinate Baloth is great as well. Just gain 4. Oh, you made me discard.
Oh, look.
Into play. Thank you. Gain 4.
Yeah, it was always when you played against the people playing the Ravens Crime deck, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Ravens Crime on turn 1, sure. Turn 0, gain 4, make a 4/4."
Yeah.
Ravens Crime at that point was less good. Much better playing Forcing. To be fair, I still think the best deck in Modern, in terms of tech decks, was when we were in Eldrazi Winter, and there was a deck that played 4 copies of Loxodon Smiter and 4 copies of Wiltleaf Liege, and you pathed a Reality Smash and put a Wiltleaf Liege into play and laughed. It's like it actually became a real deck because it was like turn 1 Hierarch, turn 2 make this elephant. Fine, you made a Reality Smasher. Sure, I just pathed it and got this Wiltleaf Liege into play, and now my guys are monsters. It was so funny. We're going to see looks like we have a couple of really good answers to Blood Moon here. We have a Celestial Purge.
Yes, yeah,
we have a Mana Leak. We have a Wear Tear. So we're all set for the Blood Moon, and we're going to see.
I think so. Yeah.
No Trick Bind though. That would have been pretty brutal.
Right now, that would have been great. Could you elaborate more on that WAG as well? Or is it Wags 36? Elaborate more on what you've just said there.
Oh yeah, so he's got half. He hasn't shuffled his cards all the same way up.
All right, okay.
So it was something
we'll just keep an eye on and see if there's any pattern. But I don't think there was. It doesn't strike me as edging out. It's only a Wednesday Night Modern, so
we will have a look.
I'll keep an eye on it though.
We'll keep an eye on it as he starts to draw his cards. It may be that he. We see an end
Sometimes you get like a bit of a mix when you're sort of shuffling up.
We'll have a look as he plays out for the next 2 turns. I think this is the turn where we don't have no third land. Oh, that was a shame because that would have been a beautiful turn to play Ghost of Sintraft.
Well, that quick look there, the 3 lands that I saw very quickly there were all the right way up. So I don't think that there's anything in particular.
We'll have a look.
Sinister at the moment. So, but we will keep an eye on it. So he's fetched for his basic island here, making sure he's getting around this Blood Moon that's potentially coming, but it's still not going to be too much of an issue.
So we're going to untap and draw for the turn. We find a Electrolyze off the top, another island into play. Do we go? I think we're going. We don't go for the Blood Moon. Yeah, I think we can.
I don't think you go for it. Yeah, it's one of those things that once you slam down, it's going to be a very good finishing. Like not finisher, but
we're going to see a bolt going upstairs.
When you can.
So we're going to bolt in the end step.
Path is in hand as well for Rowan here. Okay.
Let's have a look. No. So that. Some of the. I think he's just these misshuffle because those lands. Yeah, some of them are upside down. Some of them are right way up.
But it looks like he's going straight back and turning them back up. Okay, so that's.
So obviously not intentional. Something we will mention to him afterwards to be more careful, especially if he's on camera and people can watch. But obviously we saw from there that most of the lands were the right way up with the rest of the deck. Some of them are upside down.
It's possibly just from the end of the last game he just picked up 2 and put them in the wrong way around.
We'll have a quite a word just to mention. Always best to keep an eye on which way your lands are up.
Yeah,
especially when you're on camera because that's when people have a good look.
Yeah,
the conspiracy theories are real.
The pitchforks are coming out already.
Fantastic draw there. We see a Spirebluff Canal, an untapped third land, beautiful.
Yeah,
and on time.
Jewel land as well. So I think we're going to see lots of this sort of end step like effects of bolt you for 2 or do whatever.
It's the best part of these games of Magic is when you end step
so
everything.
much fun.
But we're going to see
how many people are there.
Doesn't say anything.
You just hover it over. Hover the cursor over here.
There's nothing. It doesn't show anything. It doesn't allow me to see how many people.
No. Okay.
Banned me from seeing how many people are playing. How many people are watching? But we see a number. We see a spell queller on the end step, obviously taking 2 down to 18 for Mr. Wang. It's one of those things that I think you can take the first electrolyze. We see a cryptic command countering the spell queller, or he's going to bounce. Oh no, he's going to counter bounce. That's interesting. So he's going to bounce the Sacred Foundry.
I think that's a good play, to be honest. You got to just time walk him at this stage. You've got 6 lands, yeah.
We're going to see a Relic of Progenitus, the draw for the turn. I think we make our land untapped. We make our relic, and we feel quite happy about ourselves.
Curiously, right, I was looking on Goldfish as well earlier, which I mentioned with the earlier in the stream. Relic of Progenitus is ranked 7 in its in spells played. Right.
That's pretty unsurprising. It's played in a lot of
15% of decks are apparently playing them main deck.
Here we go. Sphinx of the Final Word is into play. 7
so
mana,
I see your Geist in draft, and I raise you a Sphinx of the Final Word.
Which is a pretty good blocker.
It's a very, very good blocker.
We see the Geist passing the turn back.
Right, let's see what his player is. I guess... yeah. You just jam the moon. Fetching response, trick bind.
Oh, hello. Trick bind you. Okay, fine. Fine. All right, let's just tap this mana in response and blow up your Blood Moon.
Yeah. So has he got any counter spells on James's side, or is this?
I don't think you counter spell this one. I think you let it resolve and do the normal thing, or.
Or did it resolve?
Oh.
Okay. So he has Celestial Purge in his hand as well.
Feels like a misplay.
Yeah, he's got Celestial Purge in his hand.
Sorry, he's going to play the mana.
So,
yeah, I think he's just realised his mistake.
Yeah.
I think you tap the island and the. You can just make white mana. It resolves, and then you'll.
There we go. Yeah, so
he's going to tear it.
The tear is happening. So he does.
Let's go with an opt. So he's looking.
1 mana. He needs to get Pierce then.
But it doesn't because you can pay for Spell Pierce.
He can pay for Spell Pierce. So unless he's got a Dispel.
Yeah, I think he might be looking for Dispel, but Blood Moon down.
Okay.
The Sphinx is still doing a wonderful job of stopping his opponent from doing a lot. And we're going to see an untap here and a draw of the turn. Lightning Bolt off the top. A little bit far away from that at 14 life for James.
Yes, it's a bit of a stretch.
But still, James needs to find another card to do anything. Really need to attack.
Certainly, yes.
He needs to find something else. We're going to see Relic of Progenitus instead of the draw off the top.
That's something that...
opt in the end step.
Yeah, okay, so opt for the end step. The Relic could actually be really quite painful here for James in this long run here of if he does draw into any Snapcasters, we're just narrowing down. Yeah. But also lowering down the clock of Snapcaster Mages then is dead completely. And that really works well with the fact that he's trying to go on this burn plan now, James, I think, and Rowan as well. But burn ultimately is going to be the thing that finishes off both of these people, I think, excluding the Sphinx of the Final Word.
Yes. So you're going to see count up his land. Count up his 7 mana. You have plenty, sir. He looks like he also has Teferi in hand.
He's going to jam it now. Okay, there we go. The mana leak.
That seems
a response. There's a trick bind in hand, but no, not at the moment.
Pass the turn back.
So
exile one of your cards with the Relic of Progenitus. Untap and draw a card. Plenty of cards in hand for. I think James could have waited before he cast that Teferi. I think he didn't need to just do it straight away. You can pass the turn back. Untap,
certainly not main step of Teferi.
You're going to see a Steam Vents enter the battlefield tapped and a passing back of the turn. Now it's very nice that James has this Sphinx, but at the moment it can't attack. So it seems pretty bad.
Yes.
And we're going to see, and if Mr. Ruhan was to find a Supreme Verdict, it looks pretty bad.
I do think so. Yeah.
And obviously the mountain off the top.
Mountain off the top. Okay. Still got this trick bind.
Yeah, which is looking really bad.
It is
right now. Electrolyze back.
You can use it now and stop the draw.
I don't think you do that
one.
I
don't think that's it. Yeah.
Looks like we find a Spell Snare. A bit late for that one. We're going to draw, and we're going to see a Celestial Colonnade.
Well, actually, that can stifle the activation trigger of Colonnade. So that could be something.
Going to see
a 10 electrolyzer again. Yep.
Draw for
lots of electrolyzers happening in this match.
Another land off the top there for James. It looks like he's starting to flood out a little bit, which is unfortunate, but he still has a good blocker. He can't actually take damage with another electrolyze off the top and a passing back off the turn.
Yeah,
no, we're going to go
back or
we're going to go for the electrolyze straight away. That's another 2 points of damage. Ruin down at 2.
I think Rowan wins this game with the amount of burn in the hands.
I think he just found another Sphinx.
Yeah.
Do you play it? You don't have the mana at this turn, obviously, but do you play it or do you hold it?
I think I'll just jam it now.
Yep, your opponent hasn't Supreme Verdict yet.
I think either way, like if it's getting counterspelled, it's getting counterspelled. But with Rohan, you're not winning the game.
I think you can pass. I think you pass
these
the
counterspells.
turn. I think you pass the turn. It's something you can't play at this turn because you've already made your land drop.
Yeah. Sorry.
He was on 11. Now he's at 9.
Yeah.
So just getting the life totals confirmed.
We're
going through what the computer says, and that he was on 11, so we're going to go with that as the correct life total.
Yes, it was the end step. Oh, sorry, the main phase electrolyzed. Yeah.
So I think we're going to pass the turn back in a moment, and it will be
Wonderful.
Jeskai flash to take the draw for the turn. Instead, we're going to see maybe something cast on the end step. I can see maybe a burn spell going upstairs, but no, we're going to crack the relic.
I think it's about time, yeah. Okay, here we go.
Hello.
You've got to use it on something, I guess, right now. So, yeah.
So it doesn't exile.
Nothing happens.
Oh.
And it's sacrifice. So
it's pretty good.
Yeah. It stops the whole graveyard getting exiled. Good. I don't know whether I would have liked that, though, because Snapcaster Mage and these Helixes are going to be quite good against James. But
yes, we see Lightning Helix going upstairs now as well.
I personally wouldn't have trick bound that. I would have trick bound the eventual Celestial Colonnade.
Done that wrong again. I'm not doing very well today.
Relic of.
No, I can't remember. I managed to actually just spell it completely wrong. Where did I? It's over there. I think you've just passed me this. This one here. I'm trying to remember how to not be bad at this game, apparently. It is R-U-O-H.
There you go.
There we go. So apparently I'm really sorry because we just keep seeming to do this. So let's go with this one. So let's try and actually do this.
He's certainly not going to be called Relic of Progenitors, I don't think. So.
we did have someone being called Faithless Looting last night on Monday. That was quite good fun. So Relic of Progenitors, obviously exile Relic of Progenitors. So actually it's a relic itself should be exiled, not sacrificed. But
yes.
Interesting enough, this card was printed at common at one point.
Oh, it needs to be exiled itself.
Yeah, it exiles itself.
I think because the trigger.
That'd be interesting. I think it has to be exiled because that's the
exile
clause.
is part of the cost. Yeah, so it has to be exiled. So, okay.
We'll obviously pick that up at another point.
I don't think it's going to matter because I don't think he's getting I don't think he's getting the relic back anyway. So, and there's no cards that sort of account for artifacts in the graveyard.
His opponent is also at 6 life, but that is a lot of non-burn spells in hand. And
he did have a lot of burn to start with, though.
Yes,
so
and James is at 6.
And these double Sphinxes.
So it's interesting. Do you now attack with the Geist? But again,
I would jam in straight away. Yeah.
And unfortunately, we know that that Rohan doesn't have anything, and his head's now in his hand, trying to think of how to play this one. I think James might have just dug his way out of this by drawing that second Sphinx. That was a fantastic draw, and unfortunately, Rohan not able to quite answer that amazing draw step with his.
Yeah, there you go. So James gets it there.
Handshake there, and James
a cryptic command
with a spell pierce in hand. Yeah. James takes down the match 2-1. Blue-red Ascension Moon combo aggro control.
That's it.
Winning 2-1 against Jeskai Flash. A little bit of a turn for the books. I did expect the Jeskai deck to perhaps have the advantage.
I would have thought so.
Bit more.
Yeah, with the sort of more solid.
But he missed a lot of his land drops, so that was the unfortunate part. James able to draw out of them and find Sphinx the final word, being able to pull out the game. We're going to take a short break. That brings to the end of coverage of round number 2. The players look like everyone else is finished apart from our feature match area, so we'll be back very shortly with round number 3.
I think we've got one table at the back that hasn't finished, but we'll be back very shortly.
We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Round number 3 is upon us. Ladies and gentlemen, John Partridge, Chris Wingrave joins me yet again. And we have managed to find a matchup that includes...
Not the people that have been playing before on the camera, yeah.
2 new decks and 0 blue spells.
I think there's some blue spells.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Grixis Death Shadow.
We'll call it a blue deck. So Grixis Death Shadow on one side. The other side, holding up the banner of the green mid-range decks, we have Abzan mid-range itself. So we've seen Giant, and now we're about to see Abzan against Grixis Death Shadow. We're going to extend it down to feature match area, give the players a go-ahead around number 3 of our Wednesday Night Modern. Do you want to go give them a go-ahead, or do you want me to? Or is it probably easier for you? But just go and give them a nod. We'll go and give them a prod.
Yeah.
Just in case. Now, obviously, Abzan mid-range. Seen it a lot. Lingering Souls, Siege Rhino, Thoughtseize, Liliana of the Last Hope, sometimes Liliana of the Veil, but more moving towards the Last Hope now against Grixis Death Shadow. Obviously, Gurmag Anglers, Tasiga, the Golden Fang. There's 2 ofs of each. 4 Death Shadow and 4 Snapcaster Mage, plus your multitude of discard spells, life loss spells, and draw card spells.
Gotta love me some Tasigoyf.
It doesn't have Tarmogoyf in it, though. What are you doing?
It's a Tasigoyf.
Tasigoyf.
So basically what the same thing is, yeah.
Because 4 5s are what we call Tarmogoyfs.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like Ripjaw Goyf. It doesn't quite work the same way when it's 4 mana's cost for a 4/5.
Not as opposed to 1. No.
Looking at the opening hands, we have a decent one there. We have
a Scavenging Ooze, a Grimflayer, some Lingering Souls. I think that's
Liliana of the Last Hope.
Fetches as well. Seems like a solid hand to start with.
Pretty good hand. We're going to pass the turn straight to the Grixis Death Shadow player.
So that seems
pretty
solid.
Good hand.
double push, double fetch land.
Double bolt,
Serum Visions, yeah.
Street Wraith.
Street Wraith there was for the draw for the turn for Matthew here.
So we're going to see a Serum Vision start down to 17 already, doing his opponent's job for him, I believe is how it's described when you play Grixis Death Shadow. And we're going to see a cycle Street Wraith straight away. Matthew down at 215, draw of the card, and it is another Fatal Push. We're going to see a Serum Visions here from the Grixis Death Shadow deck. Draws another Serum Vision, scries a Tasiga and a Fetch Land to the top. So I imagine we see both, apparently both to the bottom. Not interested in either. I would have definitely looked to keep in the Tasiga.
Yeah, Tasiga is possibly something that's going to end this game, but
see a Rafale down to 19 and end step fetch land to fetch up a Temple Garden off of his Verdant Catacombs. Probably quite clear what he's on now. However, not necessarily. You have a couple of different flavours of Abzan. You have your devoted druid flavour, and you have your mid-range flavour.
You do. I'm pretty sure that
you also have
both of the players know what exactly they're on now, but
Stirring Wildwood off the top. I think we're going to see
Jam
one
the
of the 2 drops.
I think I jam the Grimflayer right now.
Jam the Grimflayer. It probably gets the smallest of the lot, especially when Scavenging Ooze can take over.
For the 2-drop creature is probably the least effective one, the Grimflayer, as opposed to the Scavenging Ooze in this particular matchup and Tarmogoyf.
Now, one of the
Dark Confidence
we do see in
Though I don't know if he's running Dark Confidence.
I don't think you do because you're running a lot of Siege Rhinos and more expensive spells. They don't normally do it when you have Grimflayer.
Yeah.
But one card we do have in the hand of the Grixis Death Shadow player is the big Zombie Fish. The 7-mana 5/5
Good old
with
Zombie
Delve.
Fish.
We're going to see a Thoughtseize here to look at Raphael's hand and see what he is working with.
He's going to tell the right land.
Because there is a bolt in hand. We're going to see Stirring Wildwood, Scavenging Ooze, Lingering Souls, Liliana of the Last Hope, and a Tireless Tracker.
Last Hope.
That's a pretty tough hand to Thoughtseize.
I think you probably have to take the
Tireless Tracker.
No, you can deal with the Tireless Tracker. I would take the Lily Last Hope.
Okay, that's fair enough. You have a lot of Fatal Pushes, obviously.
You can deal with the rest of the creatures. Lingering Souls is a pain, but it's not going to be a pain that you want to Thoughtseize away.
And Fatal Push to deal with the Grimflayer. We will get the players to move their library up slightly. Do you want to give him a bit of a push to move his Abzan deck slightly up so we can actually see what's working? Just taking a quick note of anything. Gentlemen.
Grab it out of the fridge and then speak to those guys over there.
So, Stirring Wildwood, the play for the turn, and we're going to see the Scavenging Ooze as the follow-up play, another Fatal Push and Lightning Bolt in hand. It just needs to go up the camera slightly. Raphael's deck and graveyard. So we're just going to get them on camera so you can see them and make it more apparent. So we have a pair of Fatal Pushes and a Gurmag Angler. I think we're going to see Fatal Push and then the big fish to follow. Needing a very quick answer here from Raphael. We're going to see 6 cards delved by Matthew, and it looks like that's going to be most of the graveyard. In fact, there is going to be 1 card left after us. There are 7 cards currently in his graveyard. I think we're going to leave the Serum Visions, the highest upside when you have so many removal spells, the fish, the early fish, the Dangler Angler. We see
the lure is quite cool.
That is a very good draw. That is a Maelstrom Pulse off the top here for Rafal. I think you might just go ahead and maybe make the Lingering Souls. We are going to make Lingering Souls to start. A fantastic card against Grixis. Death Shadow allows you to keep a number of items open. So we're going to draw for the turn. We see a Polluted Delta off the top there for Matthew, and we have quite a few removals on hand. We're going to see a very quick chump block here, and
the fish is good.
We're going to tap 1 mana. No.
So I guess next turn you flashback Lingering Souls. What would you do? Do you think
it depends on what you draw? Blockers and it depends on what you draw. I don't mind making. Like, I think you have enough turns before you have to make Maelstrom Pulse.
Yes. Yeah.
I might have just pulsed because then your opponent's tapped out and you don't run the risk of being stubborn denied.
Certainly true.
We can see funnily enough, it actually comes into play tap this turn because he's at 9 life already. And we're going to see
danger, yeah.
1 mana being
leaving
tapped.
up the red-black land here of Blood Crypt. Okay.
And a draw. I didn't see what that was, unfortunately. The chat screen is a little bit too large on the screen. We are going to hold it on the other side of our screen today. So, looks like we have Fatal Push. Looks like another blue spell. Maybe a Snapcaster Mage. We're going to bottom those. We see maybe a Death Shadow at the back of that hand as well. We see a draw of the turn for Rafal. Can he decide what to do? Maybe it is a Stubborn Denial. We see a Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, and a Snapcaster Mage. There's a Snapcaster Mage in hand currently. We're going to see a Inquisition of Kozilek. That is a fantastic draw. I think we're going to see the Death Shadow maybe biting the bin this turn. Let's get rid of the threats. Try and deal with it. Abzan very good at dealing with general threats.
It's very good at dealing with it, yes.
Choosing not to flashback the Lingering Souls, obviously needing black mana to flashback the Lingering Souls.
That would certainly be constrained on it, yeah.
Being a little bit punished for finding that Temple.
He's got the time here, though.
He certainly does. We're going to see a Tasiga, the draw of the turn for Matthew. Another good follow-up threat to replace the Death Shadow that just went by.
Yeah.
We see
there we get the Maelstrom Pulse straight off, okay.
Dealing with that.
That's fair enough.
Abrupt Decay also in hand now as well.
That's a very, very good answer to the Death Shadows.
I think we're going to see Tasiga, the Golden Fang, into play this turn. Again, just a number of good draws, a lot of really good threats as well. We see Tasiga delved.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's all of it. Yeah,
which is interesting. You may have left some in. We're going to see probably the Blood Crypt enter tapped. Doesn't need to worry about his life total so much anymore on a pass back of the turn. Again, Raphael has lots of turns.
Yes, that's
to
right. Yeah.
Find an answer. We're going to see a Siege Rhino roll off the top. Obviously, no land, unfortunately, but we have another Lingering Souls.
Oh, yeah. We still got Souls in the yard as well. Yeah,
I'd be tempted to make that Souls from your hand because if you draw another land, you can make 2 sets of Souls. But obviously, the Siege Rhino is a good backup plan to that.
That's right.
Untap and draw.
You didn't have another land in hand. Yeah, so this is sort of saying that you've got path. I would have taken this hit.
You're at 19 still.
Yeah.
It's a lot of life. Serum Vision's the draw for the turn. Your opponent also isn't really working with a lot. We see another Tasiga.
That's right.
And we see a...
I think swinging in for 2 here is actually of much more value.
Yeah, we can see both cards go to the bottom. Probably another Serum Visions here. I agree that maybe you make the one that's in your hand because then you have the options in the graveyard if you draw again because you can have a turn where you go Siege Rhino.
I don't think you need to block there against the Tasiga. You've got enough life and yeah.
We're going to see a Thought Scour at the draw for the turn.
So Liliana of the Veil, but still no double black.
Oof. Getting a little
bit
been great, punished here. I think you can also attack for 1. Yep.
Yeah.
You can see the beats.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, there's no need to now. And then, cast 1 in your hand, sure.
Lingering Souls, as we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is a really good card against Grixis Death Shadow, and we're going to see a pass back of the turn, and we're going to see Fatal Push Bolt to deal with both of them. That's pretty. I think that's pretty good if you're in the seat of the.
Now you got a free attack at least.
Yeah, which is down to 15.
Yeah.
That you did just need 2 removal spells.
Yeah.
And we're going to Thought Scour now as well.
And you got the flashback for next turn. So
Snapcaster, Inquisition, and draw a Thought Scour. So
we are at competitive REL at the moment.
Is it regular REL? I thought it was regular because we haven't got a judge.
No, sorry, it is regular. Yeah, no,
it is regular.
It's regular REL.
Oh, that was a good draw. Got a land.
Yeah.
Got an attack for 1. Got a Siege Rhino. I do think you just win more Slam a Siege Rhino. Oh no, he's going to flash.
He's going to go for the Souls. Okay.
Interesting.
I still think I would take another hit here. I would go down to 11.
It's a Blooming Marsh.
Oh, it's a Blooming Marsh, right?
That's why I can't make it this turn. We're then going to see the end step Snapcaster Mage probably targeting a Fatal Push. Get rid of 1 of the tokens.
Yeah.
And we're
still seems like.
I think Raphael might have got to the stage where these Lingering Souls have bought him enough time to resolve a Siege Rhino.
I would have been taking him more and more hits here because you're not. This Death Shadow deck doesn't have a very fast clock without a Death Shadow.
It also has slightly flooded out as well. It's got 5 lands in play.
I would have been swinging in with about 6 soul tokens right now and be winning.
We have Stubborn Denial. That's a pretty good draw, but I think we might be Siege Rhino next turn.
I think it's Siege Rhino, yeah.
We're going to make a Thought Scour, so we're going to discard Gurmag Angler and a Swamp, and we're going to draw
That's the basic Swamp as well, so
looks
these
like another land.
Quite good.
Looks like another land there. I think you trade off now, yeah. I think that's fine.
Yeah, okay. You traded in 1 for 1, yeah, sure.
You should make the Siege Rhino. You should also make your spell pre-combat this turn, so we're going to see a Tarmogoyf. I don't think making the Liliana is the right play this turn. I think Tarmogoyf hold up.
Is the Lily minus then? Yeah, there's
Stubborn Denial is too much of a risk. I think if you make the Tarmogoyf, it's probably the same size as the Tasigur, and also you have Abrupt Decay.
Yes.
You also then have Abrupt Decay. It's also giving your opponent back Stubborn Denial when they activate their.
So the Tarmogoyf, there was already a Liliana in the graveyard, I believe, as well. That was inquisitioned away from Matthew here, but
Scavenging Ooze the draw for the turn.
It may be just too slow. It can't block against the Yeah,
let's make Siege Rhino. Let's put you to 3.
And the good thing we all know about Siege Rhinos, what happens with Siege Rhinos?
They come in clashes of Rhinos.
They do.
They're like London buses. You wait ages for them to appear, and then a load turn up at the same time. I think you give your opponent the Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
Or the Stubborn Denial, either.
I think Thoughtseize.
No, I think you give your opponent Stubborn Denial actually, because it doesn't really matter.
Or a Thought Scour, yeah.
Sure, I wouldn't. Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it's a draw spell, but
that's the problem. I think giving him that gives him too much.
1, 2, 3.
You found another Thought Scour, so you got away with it. But I think if you give you
got a chance of.
You should give your opponent either the Thoughtseize or the Stubborn Denial. You have an Abrupt Decay in hand, so they cancel it.
Yeah.
Siege Rhino also answers the issue on board.
So 1 removal spell really, and this is
a Street Wraith. He's down to 1. He could just make the Street Wraith.
I would cast the Street Wraith now.
Swamp Walk.
That's Swamp Walk. That's right. Yeah.
We shall soon find out.
You got to make it, right? Surely.
If you have the land, it depends if you have the land.
Yes. He'd binned the basic.
But he should have a basic island.
He should have a basic island. That's right. Yeah. So no, that's true.
Delta.
And being at 2 as opposed to 3 is
pretty much the same.
You're going to die to Rhino next turn anyway, if he draws a Rhino, which he should do because
that's what they
Rhinos.
do.
Yeah.
That's what they do, and I think
if he doesn't, I'm going to call him out.
Small misplay maybe from Raphael. Should have probably just given him the Stubborn Denial or the because if you look at the hand, like the spells,
right now.
Worried, and nope, it's a Liliana. So
well, at least the Street Wraith's there, I guess.
Yeah, I think you make.
You've got to make the Lily there now.
I think. Yeah, you probably should do. Yeah, so we're going to
Lily minus and then
tick. Yep. Means you have to lose the Street Wraith, which is fine.
Yep.
And pass the turn back.
You still can't attack with you could attack with a Siege Rhino, but it's going to mean nothing.
It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't. No.
Unless you're worried about your opponent having like a blossoming defense or something. As we see the second Tasigur in hand, and it looks like another land for the Grixis Death Shadow player. Unfortunately, he's going to activate Tasigur to start with. You can have
Street Wraith.
Yeah, you can have a Street Wraith because you can't play it this time. Let me give you this Street Wraith. No, don't.
Okay.
He seems convinced on giving him more cards, which always worries me. But the thing is, it's like you just close out the game a lot faster if you just give them the.
There's a Death Shadow in the bin.
It's also like he looked like he may have just drawn an Inquisition of Kozilek.
Right.
See what you have in your hand. But at the same time, you're giving your opponent so many looks.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Give your opponent a Street Wraith. It doesn't do anything.
It's interesting you took the Tidus Tracker there and not the Abrupt Decay.
Abrupt Decay doesn't kill the cards. He has another Tasigur in hand.
Yeah. Or, as Wag said, just give them Thoughtseize.
Or just give them Thoughtseize, yeah.
That's very, very true.
Yeah, Thoughtseize, yeah. Give him a card that doesn't actually do anything.
There's no life gain coming from the Grixis Death Shadow list.
No, that is true. They want to get as low as possible and stay as low as possible without dying themselves. And I think we're going to see an uptick here from Liliana.
I think you still got to stick with your Abrupt Decay. I think that's going to be one of those cards that deals with the Death Shadow, which is going to be very, very important.
Yes, it is.
So I know he's got a couple in the yard because he's milled over a few with those.
He's milled
2
quite a
I've
few.
seen so far.
And I think there's one that went to exile as well. Well, it's been delved away.
Yeah.
We shall soon find out. So just have a quick check. Make sure he knows what's in there.
The Staring Wildwood, yes. The manland that's hiding out at the back there.
It's a lethal attack should he choose to
make it.
So
it's a 3/4 with reach, isn't it, I believe?
Yes, it's a 3/4 with reach. 3 mana.
3 mana activation cost. And for the land itself.
Does Raphael see his opponent tapped out and lethal damage?
We shall see. It looks like
he does not.
He's going to make 2 more creatures.
Okay.
I guess that's sort of playing around some. and you're binning that.
Playing around. I suppose you're playing around Slaughter Pact.
Slaughter Pact, yeah.
4 mana activate. Please allow me to give you this Thought Seize.
Whatever you do, just don't give him the K command. Okay, still doesn't want to give him back. Right, fair enough.
I think he realises it doesn't matter because he's won anyway, but I think you should definitely not be giving your opponent a good
another
card.
there in there as well.
And we're going to scoop up and Abzan Midrange taking down game number 1 against Grixis Death Shadow.
Now the sideboard options. Depends what Matthew has for his sideboard options.
Well, it's a pretty standard sideboard.
So let's have a look. He might not be on any white. Okay, so he's bringing in Liliana's, the land destruction as well, which is good.
Pulse.
The collective brutalities as well.
That's good as well.
So that's his life gain.
Yeah, kills early creatures as well, which is amazing.
No, it is important. It's actually very good at getting the scavenging use.
Yes, and Grim Flayer as well.
Grim Flayer, yeah.
But what we really saw in that game is the power of Lingering Souls.
Oh yeah,
and that bought so much time to draw anything.
I was wondering whether this was the Grixis Shadow player that has Lingering Souls in the sideboard, but it looks like he didn't have that option. So, because everyone knows really the best way to deal with Lingering Souls
play Lingering Souls.
Is play Lingering Souls.
Play as it Staticaster. It's much easier.
Yeah, but Lingering Souls is good against so much more.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true as well. That's true. No, Staticaster is pretty good.
Staticaster is pretty good, yeah.
It's a pretty good card.
Which I'm sure Matthew has in the sideboard as well.
Yes, which is an option
I would
to bring
imagine.
in.
I would think I'd bring that in.
Maybe.
I'd bring it in.
I suppose if it's better.
Lingering Souls is great against you, so I know he doesn't have any copies of
Looks like he may have got one
Team of Battle Rage either, so he cannot get through the Lingering Souls wall.
That is true.
Whether Rafael knows that, but I don't think he's boarding out any Lingering Souls in this matchup. They're just too good anyway. Great for the value.
Yeah, it's a card that allows you to, as we saw in that game, find your 4th land.
It was the only card that was banned in Innistrad Limited. Block Constructed, I think.
Yeah, Block Constructed got banned because I'm guessing everyone played the card.
Yes. Yep.
I wonder why. The card is rather good.
It is particularly good.
Never played that format. I started when we rotated to Theros. That was a wonderful format. I was introduced to Courseroof Crucifix
and Heroic.
No, just Courseroof
Crucifix. Yeah.
Courseroof Crucifix, Siege Rhino.
Siege Rhino was Khans, wasn't it? So
yeah, that format though. Do you want to know the best? Do you want to, no. But in terms of Theros, do you want to know what the best thing was about that one? You could play Obzedat.
Yes.
Blood Baron. You could play Sylvan Caryatid. All in the same deck. Because that's what I played when that deck came out.
There was Voice of Resurgence, was that still there?
Advent of the Worm. These were all in the same deck, by the way, that I
played the green-white standard deck that was around the green-white sort of aggro, I think it was called at some point. It had the
Advent of the Worm, Experiment 1.
Experiment 1s, it had Advent of the Worm, Boon Satyr.
Boon Satyr, Fleece Main Lines.
Fleece Main Lines,
yeah. Do you want to know the best thing about that format? You could play Junk Midrange. It was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Hoogland was a monster.
The Green-Red Monsters was actually particularly fun as well.
That deck
Storm Breath Dragons
and Palukronos.
Dommy Raids.
Oh yeah, gotta love some Dommy Raid. Palukronos was also a very impressive card.
Palukronos, I really love that card, but I would love to see it getting played more in Modern. It's just a shame that it's just not.
It was a big beater.
That just too slow, I think. Essentially, it does see play in those green/green-red devotion decks.
What in
Palukronos is just huge.
Yeah, of course. Like where you're playing
in Modern.
Where you're playing. What's the
Nykthos.
Utopia Sprawl and Nykthos.
Oh, the Nykthos and the untap, the Satyr Wayfinder.
Satyr Wayfinder. You've got Garruk's.
No, Voyaging Satyr. Sorry.
Voyaging Satyr.
Satyr Wayfinder is the one that you mill over
stuff. I love that card.
Yeah, so good. That's great in Pauper as well.
Yes. So the favourite deck I played had 4 of those in it.
Yeah.
Also had 4 Death Raptors and 4 Den Protectors because value.
Yeah, I still own those cards, the Den Death Raptor and Den Protectors.
They were wonderful cards. 3 mana, 3/3 with Death Touch with value.
Still could be good in Modern.
That was wonderful.
Hold on to them until they're going to be good in Modern. I doubt anytime soon, but...
That's a good option.
There we go. Ash Zelot, Boros Reckoner, Perforos, Stormbreath Dragon, Fanatic of Mogus.
Yes, that was also so funnily enough that was also a Nykthos Shrine to next deck.
That's right, it was. And the Boros Reckoner, that card should see more play in this format because it's just so much fun. And it's great against the Death Shadow.
Yes,
you want to hit me for about 12?
Well, that's exactly your life total.
Whatever you hit me for, you're going to die.
Yeah. We see Scalding turn on turn 1. We see a cracking the fetch land. Matthew down to 13 already. Ravel starting a little bit slower and going, you know what, I'm just going to play a Marsh Flats and pass the turn back.
I like starting my life total on 13.
Yep, it's always good. So we're going to see a Swamp and a Serum Visions enter the battlefield, enter the graveyard. We have a Fatal Push as the draw. We see a Serum Visions the draw for the turn. No second land, so we're going to cycle the Street.
That's a bit
first.
Rough.
We're going to go.
Yeah, Serum Visions is better. Yeah,
and then we find a land.
Got your lands, your Bolt.
Those two cards maybe go into the bottom.
I quite like Bolt here right now. Still,
you don't.
That deals with the early
mana.
threat.
You don't have red mana
until you fetch.
You have a Fatal Push.
Oh, it was a. Oh, sorry. I thought it was a polluted delta. Okay.
So
yeah, no, fair.
Street Race. We're down to 11. We're down to about 9 life at the moment.
Ah, the mono red.
Sees you. 9 life is where
mono
we're at the moment.
Red.
So we're going to see a Lingering Souls, Tarmogoyf land, Maelstrom Pulse land,
Rhino.
Grim
So the Rhino stayed in.
Siege Runner. This good card though. It's it outsizes.
Yeah.
It's the same size as.
It's the same size as.
It also
some
does 3
things.
damage.
It adds a bit of reach to the deck when they sort of stall at a lowish life total, so I can understand, but I just don't think the Rhino is where you want to be at.
So here's a good question for you. What on earth do you even take?
It's a handful of good stuff.
You probably
take the Rhino. Okay.
Like your opponent's going to go 2-drop, 3-drop that you can't interact with properly. Like you have Fatal Push for the first 2-drop, then they're going to make Lingering Souls, which is pretty sad.
It's possible, and I know this sounds really strange, but it is possible that the Lingering Souls just goes.
Or the Maelstrom Pulse.
Or the Maelstrom Pulse, yeah.
Siege Runner seems like a bit of a...
I know you don't really want to get rid of Lingering Souls with any sort of discard spell, but I think in this particular stage, and
not giving them
Matthew also knows just you can't beat 4 Souls tokens right now.
Matthew has an engineered explosive. He does have engineered explosives in hand.
No, of course. Okay. No, I was wrong. Then that was the correct choice.
Yeah. So we're going
to
pass the turn back and draw for the turn. See a Abrupt Decay come off the top, which is a pretty good draw.
That's going to be great.
Instantly deals with a Death Shadow, and we're going to play a Blooming Marsh, probably into a Grim Flayer, which is always the best one to start on, I believe, because it answered by a Fatal Push. That's a Stubborn Denial off the top, so no second land, but we're going to see the Fatal Push take care of that.
I would have waited until next
turn. We do have
the
Stubborn Denial just in case we want to get him. So we draw for the turn from Rafal. What does he find? He has a Thoughtseize in hand. I do like leading off with the Thoughtseize.
I think it's best to lead off with the Thoughtseize because then you can snag this the removable spells that are in the hand.
The engineered explosives.
Yeah.
I think going for the Lingering Souls is not correct here because you don't actually have they don't have a threat in hand.
It's still a pretty quick clock.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, you
can't deal with.
It is a quick clock, but if you just run it out there and it does get countered, so it looks like we're going for the Thoughtseize first. So we're going to go for Thoughtseize to start with, and no, other way. And we're going to see the Stubborn Denial hit the bin. Interesting enough, we're now going to play the Tarmogoyf, which is now a very big threat that needs an answer very quickly from Matthew Irving.
Another push, yeah.
And a Polluted Delta off the top.
You
a nice
might
draw,
have to just bang E out straight away.
But
that doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't deal with the Abrupt Decay that's in the hand as well. So
yes, which will be able to be used on that.
Yeah, so it's a 4/5. Okay, they got it recorded.
4/5.
Yeah, and you don't really want to jam the EE into the... Well, I mean, he doesn't know there's an Abrupt Decay in the hand,
no,
but he does know that there's a Maelstrom Pulse.
Yes.
So
because that's non-land permanent, yeah. So
and growing the Tarmogoyf any larger is not a good option here right now.
No.
Fetching isn't either, really.
2-turn clock at the moment,
yeah.
This Tarmogoyf. And we're seeing the problems that some of these...
it might just be that he gets Thoughtseize now anyway. Shoves it in the bin and...
He thought he took the Stubborn
Denial. Oh, no, that's right, yeah. He didn't draw the one off the top. Okay, right.
So we're going to attack for 4. Crack our fetch land.
I guess this is going to do the... and shocking. So he's dead?
Okay.
Or
he's got
the...
Snap Mage.
Snap push. Yeah,
that's
sure.
Also good.
That's
fine.
Solid.
It's a fine play. Follow-up is going to be quite good, though, in the Lingering Souls.
Yep.
And the Engineered Explosives is nice, but again, it's how do you then start to use it?
Yeah, you would still jam it straight away, I think.
Or not. Or no need.
Or, yeah, not to...
Because it's static caster.
I wouldn't have cast it then, because it's got flash.
Yes, see if your opponent makes any more. You probably can.
Because you might have flashed back the Lingering Souls.
That's a good draw. So that is a good draw. Another land comes off the top. We now have Abrupt Decay mana, and we also have...
And he hasn't got the Rhino, so anymore.
Yep, so we can play Scavenging Ooze plus Abrupt Decay.
Scavenging Ooze and Abrupt Decay seem like a good option, because then you can jam down the rest of the souls.
Yep.
Or you Abrupt Decay now.
You also don't have to. You can just sort of eat a couple of things and become a 4/4.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true.
To things. We see an island off the top there. The Colligan's Command is pretty good.
Really good.
Okay, take 2.
Yeah.
No blocks.
And you can loop as well with this Snapcaster Mage. There is a couple of creatures that
no blocks. Just declare no blocks.
You don't want to block it. There's no need.
There's no need.
You're on 14. You can take 2 easily.
And then you can get it.
You think he's thinking about this?
There's no point because he has a Staticaster which does 1 point of damage anyway. You don't know what his hand looks like.
Yeah.
You can just say...
Yeah. So he's going to offer up the trade. Now this forces the hand from Rafal first.
But he gets to eat some... He gets to eat a few things.
Gains a life.
Plenty of fuel.
So he's now on 15. Yeah.
He does get to... Yeah, so this is going to do 1 damage.
Ping it.
Sure. We're going to lose a life. We're still going to get Colligan commanded.
Yeah.
Get to discard the Maelstrom Pulse.
Does he go fetch his basic forest here?
I think you do, yeah.
Yeah.
You get to eat something else. Gain another life. And this is why I don't think you should.
And the K command
now kills it off.
Yeah, but you do it after combat, so you can get back the scavenging, the Snapcaster Mage.
Yes.
So maybe this was the correct.
I don't think the block was correct.
No, the block wasn't correct.
Because you do open yourself up to get a little bit 2 for 1. And get back the Snapcaster Mage, which is pretty
And then
good.
if you draw a land off the top, then you've got... well, as long as you don't get Rhinoed, but...
so Lingering Souls, that is...
well,
to be fair,
I mean...
you can Abrupt Decay and then get back the other souls, which is also fine.
Which is, I think, what you would do.
Abrupt Decay, the Staticaster, and get back Lingering Souls. Make 2 1/1s. There's a pretty good clock. We're going to draw for the turn. We found Stubborn Denial. Oh,
just in time.
And we're going to crack it straight away.
I don't like that straight away.
No, there's no need. We're going to draw for the turn.
There is absolutely no need.
Find a Siege Rhino off the top. Oh, hello. Yep, you can't Stubborn Denial that, unfortunately.
That's right.
And we are going to quickly flick back to our
screen just got.
And we're going to go down to 1 versus 18. And unfortunately, Matthew needs a very, very swift answer.
In Angler.
And the Maelstrom Pulse now doesn't do anything. You can just make Lingering Souls and try and bait out the counter spell.
Well, the Lingering Souls is going to be... Although you've got... If you draw another...
if you draw another land... It doesn't really
They don't play Rise Fall, do they?
No, not anymore. They did at one point, so we see another Lingering Soul. So yeah, you just make souls this turn.
Yeah, make your souls.
Get the counter spell out of your opponent's hand. You can take the 5.
You can K command if he doesn't have it. Okay, so I mean, yeah, you just you got to get rid of that, right?
I would rather that gets eaten by.
Well, no, otherwise you're just dead. The attack from Siege Rhino.
Oh yeah, sure. There's a double Snapcaster Mage in hand now as well for.
Oh, okay.
Matthew, double snap. It's interesting. Oh yeah, so he can't obviously attack because of trample. That's like a surgical extraction.
Was that for Matthew or for
Rafal?
Oh, for Rafal. Well, that's good because if you get rid of the K commands, then you've got no way of.
No, you get rid of the. Target of. That's not going to happen. So you do have to give your opponent a chance to. Use their surgical extraction targeting your.
I think it's all she wrote.
Yeah, Thought Scour is going to take that away. They all go into exile.
And he's got no other way of. He's not got another. Yeah.
Does it do all of that as well?
Sorry. Oh yeah, it looks through all. It looks through your graveyard, library, hand. Not from the ones from your sideboard though. So.
Yeah, you aren't allowed to look into your opponent's sideboard and go, oh, I wonder what you're going to play in the next game. Or what
there was one weird thing with Mind Slave, wasn't it? When you gain control of the person's turn, had a few people sort of go and then try and have a look at the sideboard.
Which you're not allowed to do.
Because it's outside the game.
Which is correct. You can do whatever you want inside the game within reason. Just not outside the game. So we see choose target card in a graveyard other than a basic land card. Search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shoves his or her library. So that Lingering Souls is going to resolve, and that's 1 life for Matthew. He's going to draw for the turn.
That is removal spell.
Not a Staticaster. And he's going to pass his hand across the table, concedes the game. Abzan Midrange takes down...
Abzan is still really good against these Death Shadow decks. Just
I think it's the one thing you don't want to see.
Souls. No, it really isn't the one. Yeah.
Even though you didn't get to cast many of them. Then most of them got eaten. But think about how many cards it did take. That does bring us to the end of round 3 coverage here from Darksphere in London. You will join us for round number 4 and our final round.
Humans on, I think.
Hopefully,
we're going to have humans.
Yes, it'll be good, and hopefully they finish before 11 o'clock. So that'd be good.
That would be nice.
They have, to be fair, they have been very swift actually.
We have been swift today, yeah.
So we are going to go to a quick break, and we will see you all very shortly. ladies and gentlemen, round number 4. John Partridge, Chris Wingrave. A final time for the night.
And
it's been a good night. We've seen a number of different decks. And it's more stable than the first time we did it when we started with 8-Rack versus Kiln Fiend. I was a bit of a strange one.
That was good fun, though.
Yes, it was good fun. It was a bit strange. It was not something. It was not modern as I was used to. This is much more my jazz, much more my thing. We're going to go down to the feature match area one final time.
That's right. Yes.
Humans versus Abzan.
So the Abzan from the last round. These are the two 4-0 play, 3-0. Sorry,
3-0. We are only 4-0
yet. Yeah, the two 3-0 standings as we speak, and it looks like we have some upside down. There we go, right way up. Aether Vial and a land. So I think at least one land.
That's 3 lands.
3 lands.
Looks like an ancient Ziggurat, a uncharted territory. Of course, you've
got Aether Vial.
You have Aether Vial. You can play a turn 2 play in your Meddling Mage, naming something. Again, you're against Abzan, which is a bit of a challenge because Abzan has a lot of good removal, but we're going to see a Seachrome Coast. Humans on the play into an Aether Vial. Humans on the play as only an aggro deck should want to be. We're going to see a draw the turn. You have to go to the gentleman over there. And we're going to see a follow-up play. We will probably see a land and just to pass back the turn. Maybe an Inquisition or Thoughtseize would be a good place to start. Able to take out some of the power of the deck.
Yes, that's right, yeah. So
especially a Meddling Mage. Leaving your opponent with 2 Thylius Lieutenants in hand seems quite strong.
That's right, yeah. As long as there's no particularly good draws off the top, taking Meddling Mage.
Yeah, I think it's the safest thing to do. Just going to move out of the way while the store is fortunately still running, so they have to
get to the
steal cards, get to the rival of Ixalan. What a format.
Get the standard.
But yes, we will see a Overgrown Tomb and a Thoughtseize all the way down to 15 already, doing his opponent's job for him as we see.
I mean, why not? It's a nice thing to
double
do.
Thylius Lieutenant. We see Cavern of Souls, Ancient Ziggurat, and a Meddling Mage. I think the Meddling Mage is the one to go just because it doesn't interfere with what you're trying to do. And unfortunately, the 2 copies of Thylius Lieutenant are probably not going to do too much into the pile of Fatal Pushes, Abrupt Decays.
That's right. Yeah, there's so much good removal in here.
Especially when Liliana is Liliana
of the Last Hope as well. There is one at least in this main book.
Cavern of Souls named Human. We're going to see a very, very good draw.
Noble Hierarch is a very good start. I'm not sure I would have vowed that in, I think.
I would have made a
Thylius Lieutenant on the Vial. Yeah. Strange.
I think I would have just made Thylius Lieutenant and then Viled it in.
Yeah,
because it's something you can do. We've got a Fatal Push.
There is that trick you can do with the Aether Vial and the activations of both of the things entering the play at the same time. So the activation of putting a +1/+1 counter on with the Thylius Lieutenant. Yep. So you cast the Thylius Lieutenant.
With the trigger on the stack.
It enters the battlefield, the trigger enters onto the stack, then you vial in the Noble Hierarch and it'll get the +1/+1, and also so does the Thylius Lieutenant. So I think he missed a trick there.
But we're going to see the Ancient Ziggurat enter the battlefield as well.
So in response
to the Thylius Lieutenant, we're going to see the Fatal Push take care of the Noble Hierarch, and then we're going to see Thylius Lieutenant. We're going to see a Kitesail Freebooter.
Now that is something you might have wanted to save your Fatal Push for.
We're going to see quite a good hand in response. We're going to see double Tarmogoyf, Scavenging Ooze, Abrupt Decay, and Lingering Souls.
Seems like a very good choice. So to answer Venom's question in here, we are streaming out of London, more specifically London Waterloo. Darksphere in London.
Lambeth North. London Waterloo's miles away. It's about a 15-minute walk.
15. Not with these long legs.
No, it took about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes for us to get from here to
we are
Waterloo.
very, very close to London Waterloo, which is very in the centre of London. For those of you that aren't...
South of the river.
It's pretty central.
Really central London.
It's pretty central London.
We'll agree to disagree on that one. I work in Holborn, which is more central than Waterloo.
Right.
It's a nicely positioned
one. It's easily to get to.
Yes, it's on an easy-to-access tube line. We're going to see Abrupt Decay taken by the Kitesail Freebooter. What is the draw for the turn? Anything like a Liliana of the Veil would be really good here.
We're jam that straight away, right? Or are you going to go straight for...
No, third land, unfortunately. Pass back the Tarmogoyf. We're going to see a 4/5, so a massive beater.
Yeah, that's right.
He's going to leave it set
very, very good.
And another Cavern of Souls, obviously naming Human as well.
Emergency.
Only after sideboard you need to start worrying about what they name, but again, against Abzan.
That's right, yeah. So out of his sideboard he has...
Kataki.
2 Katakis, yeah. So what we've seen.
So we're going to see the Thylius
Lieutenant. Pump up.
Thylius Lieutenant in the battlefield. It is now a 2/3. Interesting enough, not going to make the other one, not willing to open it up too much at the moment.
I imagine that's a good decision to make here right now. Although he didn't do the trick with the Vial again, so I know he has another one in his hand.
That's a good draw.
That's
so
correct.
Looks like a land off the top there, and a Blooming Marsh by the looks of it. It's a pretty good draw, able to make Lingering Souls, not able to block particularly well, but that Thali's Lieutenant not going to be attacking through the 4/5 Tarmogoyf anytime soon, although finding a removal spell is probably of a critical nature, as he is now at 13 life. Although Lingering Souls will allow him to survive quite a few turns. There are quite a number of removal spells that will be very
good removal spells
for the deck.
Especially with the deck, I believe the Humans deck only runs 1 planes as its basic basic list, so paths are quite literally active all the time, and giving your opponent lands is not a big deal.
Better than Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah.
I think your opponent's already technically flooded with his human deck.
Yes, right now, yeah. At this stage, you don't really mind giving them the extra lands because they can cast all their multiple spells in it each turn.
Lingering
Souls is going to be a good amount of blockers, or might even edge out a few life points here.
He decides not to attack, which is fair enough. I suppose he's under the cosh a little bit in this game.
Yep.
But we're going to untap. Any removal spell now is going to spell Doom for the Humans deck, but we're going to see what the draw is for the turn. What can he find?
So Venom is saying he's playing Jeskai Control here, but wants to know what deck should I play for the next modern GP?
Jeskai Control.
Yeah, I think that's probably the solid option, isn't it?
Not
he says
for that,
it just folds to Dredge and Tron.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it folds to Dredge at all. I think you have a number of cyber cards. Yes, Tron is a horrible match. Again, what you have to think, what you have to bear in mind is, when is your next GP? When's your next GP? Leon,
we'll see.
And bearing in mind Leon's a few weekends away, I would play Jeskai Control, hands down, purely because it's the deck you know.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, definitely.
Never underestimate in. So the reason being that I would play Jeskai Control at your next modern tournament if it was only a few weeks away is because the likelihood of you being able to metagame the format enough and learn that deck well enough.
So it's on February 9th. Yeah, so it is GP
it's Leon.
Yeah.
So between now and Leon, you've got 9 days.
Yeah.
To learn a new deck. Now, if you think you can do, I would recommend. Actually, I don't know what I'd recommend because it's modern.
Burn.
If you have no buys, then there's always the option of playing a very linear aggressive deck. Boggles, Burn, Affinity, anything like that is very linearly aggressive.
Depends how much you've played in GPs as well, or big events. So if you're struggling to find concentration towards the end of the first day, and you're really struggling with Jeskai Control because it's pretty intensive to think about what you have to do each time, a slightly easier deck to play is Burn. I say slightly easier because Burn still requires some thought, especially in the Death Shadow matchup. But ultimately, it's a very, very quick games. You can get your hydration in between rounds. And
I can't answer that question. What should I play? Let's assume you have all decks, because I don't think that's necessarily an option. What I would do is play the deck. I am always of the opinion that as a fantastic draw, and then Fatal Push to get back the Abrupt Decay. That is a huge draw.
Just going to wipe the board here now and finish.
I would always play the deck you know best. Hands down. I went to the RPTQ with Bant Nightfall.
Yes.
And I made top 16 because I won a match against Jeskai Control because I know my deck really well.
Yeah.
What I was tempted to do was audible onto another deck that I thought was good, but that would have been a really bad idea because I would have had lost. But it's how many percentage points you lose for playing a deck that you're not as comfortable with.
Yes, that's right.
I have 2 buys and played on the Pro Tour. Then play Jeskai Control because you're probably a good enough player to beat most people at an average game of Magic.
Yeah. It's got a lot of solid options right now.
I think it's great.
There's about sort of 12%, I think, of the meta online and offline are playing Tron variants, and that's including Eldrazi Tron as well in that particular sort of thing.
Yeah. I think
top is next Jeskai, so as long as you can control the mirror.
Bearing in mind you played on the Pro Tour, I've made 0 day 2s of GP, so don't talk to me about picking a deck because I audible a lot. My honest opinion is, having made PPTQs, RPTQs and stuff like that, is always play the deck you know best.
Yeah, definitely.
And the one you're most comfortable to play 9 rounds or 7 rounds of Magic with in a day, and possibly play upwards of 21 games of Magic.
No, I completely agree. If I was going, my personal thing, that's based off the knowledge that I know, it'd probably be something Teamer.
Teamer?
Yeah.
Oh, Teamer Blood Moon. No, we're not doing that.
No, it probably would be that. Yeah. Or it would be Death and Taxes. And probably almost straight white Death and Taxes.
Yes, agreed. The Tron matchup's abysmal, but you will also have so many good matchups. Let's put it this way. I could play Titan Shift, I could play Burn, I could play Storm, I could play Nightfall, I could play I could play Counters Company. If I was and I've played Nightfall now for a year, if I was going to go to a GP with 7 days to go, I'd play Nightfall.
Yes.
And I wouldn't even doubt that decision because it's the deck I know the best. And
once you're comfortable with everything,
I think that's a lot of the battle is what's your best deck?
Yeah.
And we're going
to serve in here now with the 5/6 Tarmogoyf. That's pretty solid.
And also Scavenging, which is only a 2/2, but obviously has 3 green mana open. The Reflector Mage getting rid of the token is a fairly good interaction with Reflector Mage.
Yeah, that's right.
But in answer to just one final thought on this.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So my answer is play the deck you know best. And if that's Jeskai Control and this is the one you've been playing, play that. What's your answer? Because we're going to be split on this.
I would think Jeskai Control is a good option. I think a lot of people are going to be prepared for Jeskai Control.
I'm not sure. Like, I don't know how prepared you can be for Jeskai Control.
You can't be
not gonna
super prepared, but you can just bring a deck that is naturally better against that sort of thing.
Burn and Jeskai?
I would play Burn, personally. I would play Burn because if you're not one of those people that copes well under tiredness to some extent and thinking a lot, and you might not get a lot of time between rounds playing Jeskai Control. Sometimes you do, but the lack of breaks really does affect people's performance. So I would say something like Burn makes a lot of...
Good lord, that hand.
That was
particularly
good, wasn't it?
That is double Abrupt Decay, Tarmogoyf, Scavenging against a humans deck who's top decking every turn.
Yep.
Good lord. We're going to see a Kite Self Rebooter enter the battlefield.
He's going to have to start blocking here now with this.
I think
the Freebooter's just going to hit the bin.
I'd like to Abrupt Decay your Thalia's Lieutenant in response. Okay, show you this ridiculous hand of magic cards. That is ridiculous hand. That is so powerful right now when you're at 6 life. We're going to see
you shut off the Abrupt Decay on that, on the Thalia's Lieutenant, that's right, yeah.
I'm going to see an untap.
I really like the Thalia's Lieutenant.
I'm going to see a Temple Garden here. Not too
powerful.
That's
a 4th land, so...
It's a 4th land, which is good. You're also at 12 life.
Flashback the Souls.
Attack for 5. But exactly, you can flashback and play at the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah.
You lose 2 life, but that's fine. I think you're massively far ahead right now.
Yeah. Actually, Red Green Valetics
No, I don't agree that's the best tournament deck at all.
Well, I mean, for quick games of Magic.
I don't even think it's that. Like, if you want quick games of Magic, you play Burn. The problem with Red Green Valakut, as we saw at the GP, where the opponent didn't know what they were doing, but it's not brain dead though. That's the thing.
Do you not think?
I don't think it's a brain dead.
I think you have to learn about sequencing, and then ultimately you win.
I disagree that it's an easy deck to pilot. Okay. I've played Red Green Valakut enough, and yes, it is.
We've skipped up now. Rafael has taken game 1.
It obviously has like a set game plan.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is, if you like with Red Green Valakut, is you do have a lot of quite terrible matchups.
What's the particular worst matchup then for Red Green Valakut? Tron?
No, your Tron matchup's fine. It depends on how early they get a Khan. Like, Living End's a problem.
That's true.
Any of like the unfair combo decks, you pretty much can't beat. Storm is a massive problem for Valakut.
Yeah, no, that's
you can't
fair.
interact with Storm
and
properly.
I guess Ad Nauseam as well.
Ad Nauseam, Burn can beat you very easily. Boggles is like the hardest matchup ever to play against. So, Red Green Valakut is. It depends also if you find it mind-numbing to play, you probably don't play it. My biggest issue with playing Red Green Valakut, and I played Red Green Valakut for a while, is that against the combo decks, it's just like, sure, I lost.
You used to play it with the Heart of... what was that card called?
Hour of Promise.
No. Prismatic Omen and the...
No, so I played both versions. I preferred the version where it had Chandra, Torch of Defiance.
Okay, it's the more sort of grandier one,
So I played 2 Chandras in the main because you can make Turn 4 Primeval Titan, which won a lot more games. The biggest thing I made a Turn 4 Titan in one game and died. That is the critical problem with that deck. And I do love...
It hasn't really got any
Valakut
good answers, has it, to Storm?
No, like Storm is... Storm you can't... I'm fairly sure you can't beat Storm.
I would say that. Yeah.
Unless you have the Leyline of Sanctity in the board, which you're unlikely to have, they just goldfish faster than you do.
Yeah.
And you are ships passing in the night. Yeah. They can play a game where they end step their Gifts Ungiven, untap, make Baral, and then combo kill you.
Yeah.
Lantern Control is probably is a challenge, but then
what's HR? Prismatic Omen with Chandra, and I like the Prismatic Omen
and
Chandra.
Hour of Promise.
Hour of Promise.
It's probably HR's probably Hour of Promise.
Is Hour of Promise the 5 mana?
It's the 5 mana get 2 lands.
That's quite a good card,
with Prismatic Omen, with Prismatic Omen you kill at 6 lands because
with Prismatic Omen you can kill at 5.
Yeah, sorry, so you can do that.
You just get 4 Valakuts and a mountain.
Yeah, but they don't trigger because it's 5 other mountains.
Oh, so you need to do 6.
You need 6 lands.
You need 6?
Yes,
you can do it with
6.
5.
No, you need a minimum of 6 with Prismatic Omen.
5 other. Okay.
Yeah. So Valakut says you need 5 other mountains. So you could play it if you find it mind-numbing.
But that's still turn 4.
Sure, but you could still be dead.
Oh yeah. Of course.
I also find that like you, The problem with Titan Shift is if they counter your relevant spell, you don't do anything.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
And the way the Jeskai control decks play nowadays is
you can't kill them
they'll probably be above 18 life, so you need 8 lands to kill them. They can likely counter your relevant spell. Yes. And then you have to kill them with like land drops and stuff, which is an option as well.
Well, they're not fast at killing you. They're definitely not the turn 4 deck, and you're the quicker deck. Yeah. I mean, no, it's a difficult thing to sort of say. I personally wouldn't play Red Green Valakut, but that's just me. Same thing as I wouldn't play Lantern Control or Tron, but they're probably very good in this current meta.
Yeah, I think the biggest question is
what are
you good with? What is your best deck? What are you happiest to play at a tournament for 7 rounds? And if that is
or more,
and also I wouldn't want to walk into a tournament with a deck that's bad against Storm.
That's true. That's a fair
or combo decks. And sure, people will play Red Green Valakut. I do agree with them playing it. It's a fun deck. But this is the thing with Modern. And we could, the honest answer is, we could debate this for the entirety of this match over what you should play at a tournament. Because why should you not play Boggles? Why should you not play Burn? Why
I would play Red Green Valakut with
Abzan?
A white splash and play Pay No Heed.
Or you could play with the black splash and get things out of black as well, but I don't think it's the best.
Yeah.
You can also play any of the green-black mid-range decks. You could play any of the you can play any of the collected company decks. There are so many decks you can play in Modern, and bearing in mind that Abzan counters, which seems to be having a bit of a resurgence, is horrible against Jeskai Control. Jeskai Control crushes that deck.
Yep.
Like something, like it's not even funny how crushing that deck is for.
Removal.deck.
Yeah, you just kill off the Devoted Druid when they do anything, and you kill any relevant cards, and eventually
every creature in their deck.
you kill them with something. And
spell quellers and
you can just randomly randomly aggro them out or burn them out as well. Whereas I find with sort of playing the Jeskai Control version, if you're on the Jeskai Control with Fat Custom Aids rather than the Spell Quellers Geist to Saint Draft, you have a very good matchup against sort of the unquote unfair decks.
Yeah.
Because you have counter spells that can deal with it, and also you interact before turn 4.
That's right. Yeah. So you got solid choices against everything. That's probably the reason why Jeskai is doing so well right now, and I say well loosely because
Jeskai will always be a good deck. Be under no illusions, that deck will always be good.
Oh yeah. It's got every bit of tools that you've got. The solid 1 mana, kill any kind of creature, provided it's got no protection.
Oof, a mulligan looks like down to 4 here for David. He's definitely not happy with any of his hands at the moment. Looks like Raphael kept on 7. And you could, I'm going to be honest, you could put anyone in this room, including people who don't play a huge amount of Modern, in my chair and in your chair, and they'd all give you a different answer.
Oh yeah, that's one of the great things about Modern is you can't account for every single deck, and that's probably one of the reasons why the pros don't like Modern, or certain pros don't like Modern.
I mean, I was listening.
You can't hammer it down into one thing.
So Jerry Thompson had an interesting podcast opinion on what the Pro Tour will be, and he said that most people like just play decks that kill you, like aiming at turn 3 combo. Because you go right underneath Valakut. So Valakut's pretty much a no-go. Tron the same. You go right underneath Tron. They may not do anything before you kill them. So things like Storm combo, things like Infect, things like Burn. The thing with Burn is it's incredibly consistent, and it's also really good at punishing bad decks. Like you have 7 searing effects after board is so good against the Devoted Druid combo decks. And
humans.
Humans as well, I wouldn't play humans at a tournament.
Humans has a good Storm matchup.
Humans has an insanely good Storm matchup, especially pre-board.
It's got a very good Tron matchup as well.
Does it?
Yeah. Solid.
Valias, I guess.
Valias, you got the Meddling Mages to stop their payoff cards. Yeah.
Kite-Self Rebooter takes Khan. Takes you name O-Stone, they can't play the O-Stone. I think
it's a bit sort of rock paper scissors. I agree there, Venom.
Although then why are you playing a Modern GP? If it's that bad, why are you playing it?
Regardless, any large event, you're going to have decks with bad matchups.
This is going to hurt. Like, this is the Inquisition. Look at your hand of 3 drops, take your Mantis Rider, and leave you with Phantasmal Images we were talking about earlier.
Phantasmal Image is great.
Oh, we'd find the land for the Reflector Mage. It's a pretty good draw. We've had some very good draw steps so far for the Heroes
deck. You don't jam it now, right?
No, you don't.
You've got to get some value out of it.
Exactly.
It seems bad. Unfortunately for David here, though, being on a mulligan to 5, was it? Rough.
So one thing one thing you can do just to try and wrap up this conversation a little bit is, if you're not sure, I believe there's a website where you could hire decks from.
Sparedeck.com, I think.
You pay an amount of money and you So you can pay some money each for a month subscription. You can hire out decks.
Yeah.
And you can borrow them and then give them back at the end of a queue. So if you really don't know what you want to play, go on Modo.
Oh, that one, right? Yeah, there's oh god,
it's like Mana something.
Yeah, something like that.
It's a really good website, so you can hire a deck.
Yeah, practice all you want.
Practice all you want, and then choose it. Come to Darksphere, buy your cards from Darksphere.
That's right.
And
I'm not sure where Venom is living right now, but
in all seriousness, that if you are that unsure about what to play, that is another option of what you could choose to do.
Yes. Very much so,
in terms of not sure what you deck. So you could play a League of Valakut, you could play a League of something else, you could play a League of this, where yes, you spent some amount of money, but it's probably less than what you could have played in another way. And it will also probably give you the best look of what you want to play. That is a hand. Still, again, it's green-black, so we should expect nothing less from the green-black deck. Canadian. So
okay, yeah, well, fair enough.
If you're living in Canada, it's a very long way to Leon. If you're living in the UK,
there
then
must be
another
modern GP then, I guess, maybe in the Americas somewhere.
I mean, sure which GP are you actually going to?
Yeah, tell us what GP is happening down in the America ways. Or he may be just coming to Leon.
It'll be a long way to travel and a very good place. But yeah, I think the honest answer is have a look at the websites if you think that you're not sure. Play whatever you think you will do best with.
Yes.
Play what you know. Yeah. I have always found, especially in Modern, you will win more games by knowing your deck and being good with that deck than playing the metagame deck, because that's how Modern works.
Yeah.
The better you are with the deck, the better it is. But we see an Abrupt Decay.
Oh yeah, of course it's Toronto.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Play Espermill.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Alexi will be happy to hear that. Let's not show him that one across the room. He'd love that one.
He's probably watching anyway now.
But yes, we're going to see the flashback of the Lingering Souls after the Abrupt Decay took care of the Kitesail freebooter. We're going to see the Clue token probably going away from the Reflector Mage.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, David's mulligan to 5 really hurting him here at the moment. We're going to see an untap, another attack for 3, and looks like a land off the top. We have double Scavenging Ooze, so that is going to be a very good place to start. Next, it outsizes the Reflector Mage already, and we can start
eat up the whole graveyard.
Yeah. So we can start beating in. Beats 4-3 from.
Strange did it before combat, but there we go.
Little things.
It doesn't make a difference.
No, I think at this point it's unfortunately David's mulligan. Unfortunately, David's mulligan not paying off the Inquisition, getting rid of the payoff card, which probably hurt him the most. To be fair,
that's very true.
This Scavenging Ooze is going to start taking over the game, especially
however,
with so much
Mantis Riders. Although it's for 2 mana, so it's going to be Phantasmal Image copying that. Probably picking up the Scoos, which is going to eat something, or just leave it in the graveyard and play
I think
next
you leave it in the graveyard. Like, you have a Fatal Push still in hand, and it does.
The life gain doesn't matter right now.
Exactly. So. And this does enter as a copy of, so you can't Fatal Push in response. It will still enter as a Reflector Mage.
It will still have the trigger. Yeah.
Yeah, it will still enter as a Reflector Mage.
Or you can respond to the trigger, but it actually no. Then that doesn't.
It's an enter the battlefield as a copy of.
It's an enter the battlefield as a copy of.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to double check.
Also, you could just play Bad Nightfall. My heart would be real.
Yeah, sure.
So, Phantasmal Image, as long as I've spelt this card correctly, will be
I see. So it's going to push it in response to the cast. Okay, fair enough. So it's
it
got
can
no
now
copy.
enter. It can now enter. It can enter as a copy of Scavenging Ooze.
Or Lingering Souls.
I've done it again. What am I doing with my life? I'm really good at this today.
So David isn't actually called
Megrin.
Madgrin.
There we go. I will get this right at some point tonight. I'm really good at clicking on the right thing.
So the person on the left is not called Phantasmal Image. Strangely enough. And what a great name.
And obviously the benefit of becoming a copy of Scavenging Ooze, you have no green mana to actually activate it. The very, very first version of this Humans deck actually played green lands.
Yes,
which is interesting.
Right,
so Phantasmal Image, you may have Phantasmal Image enter the battlefield as a copy of. Oh yeah, we just throw our cards down and say go. So do we have Delirium? We have Instant. No, we're going to have a Shake of the Hand instead.
Oh, what a shame.
2-0. Raphael takes down David and his Humans deck.
It's 4-0.
Yeah.
There we go. Abzan showing how powerful those selections of cards are right now.
Yeah. Playing good value green-black cards is apparently still A-OK. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew that playing green-black was still good?
Yeah. Who'd have thought?
But
Todd Stevens was playing at the weekend.
He was.
Straight
I
green
couldn't
black.
believe it.
No.
Like, I looked at him and saying, but you're not playing Collected Company and Course of Krufix. I mean, I don't know. He may have been playing Course of Krufix still, and I believe he had Excavators in the deck because the green-black deck gets
from the games that was on camera, he wasn't winning.
Oh, shame.
Either.
He was being carried.
He was. Yeah. So, but then he plays lots of those weird decks, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he's got his points for the total or whatever. Yeah. So I think he was just going with.
He's player's champion already.
Yeah.
But it was also funny because Brendan DeCandio was getting carried a lot by Bant Spirits, which I did find quite amusing as well.
The D.
Caleb Dunward, the hero that he is, the hero
that everyone needs. Time. Yeah. But yeah, it's very true. As we saw, like a lot of the mid-range strategies now are very weak to Tron. Luckily today, I guess he didn't see Tron. There was 1 or 2 Tron decks floating around. I think there's the Eldrazi Tron player here.
I think you can't see.
I
don't think you can take too much from a 20-man field.
No, not at all.
For your average PPTQ, sure, fine, because
sure.
It's probably more likely to be that.
There was the black-red hollow one, but it looked like he got unlucky, I guess.
Yes, nice deck.
Very, very strong.
Cool
Can
deck,
be
definitely.
Just go bleh, but
throw my stuff on the table and see what happens.
Deal with these 4/4s.
Yes. But it's been fun again.
Yeah, no, it has, and the meta seems to always shift in this shop
definitely.
Anyway, you've got loads of different people. You've got everybody that comes into London from outside countries and come. They have games
you
here.
Have people from people travel from Kent, Essex.
You've got your regulars
You've
as well.
Got your regulars as well, which is always good. I class us now as regulars, as we always turn up and do this.
Well, yeah.
I'll be looking forward to next week. Hopefully, more people turn up.
Let's see. Yeah.
But no,
Hollow One is back.
Hollow One is back. Nice.
Depends if you're burning inquiring.
I still think it's probably bad.
Probably.
Venge-vining people is much better. But anyways, I think we're going to call it an end to the stream for tonight.
Yes, people need to to go off and rush back home.
We need to go get some trains to go home as well.
I need to eat. So I haven't done that today, really.
No, that is true. I've got some food which I do need to consume as well. It's been a pleasure again, sir, and hopefully
next time,
maybe next week again, we will do some more modern coverage with a few more different decks.
There might be some footage at the weekend as well. I imagine we have a winner box, a modern winner box on Sunday here at Dark Sphere in London. Cool. So I don't know if it's getting streamed, but I won't be here.
Neither will I.
There we go. We can see. Thank you very much for the time that you've taken here, viewers, and to John himself as well.
I guess the next really big one on the weekends for myself will be the PPTQ.
Yeah,
that'll be the next big one.
We've got the Pro Tour this weekend.
Got the Pro Tour this weekend, which is modern. We've got Pauper on Monday, which is coverage. We have every Monday. We have Legacy every Tuesday, which is also covered.
Yep, that's right.
There is Modern every Wednesday, which we
should be covering again, but maybe there might be some different people, but we'll see.
We won't always be in here. We will at some point step out onto the floor and play and probably be bad and get crushed and hopefully not to feel too bad about it. And then I think towards the end of March we have the standard PPTQ here at Dark Sphere in London, and obviously we'll probably be providing coverage for that. I have already put my name in the hat for doing that because I love doing the PPTQs.
Yeah.
I love them to pieces. I love doing
I'm not so much of a standard connoisseur, but I play a lot of I play a lot of modern online, offline, and I'm constantly keeping up to date. So my knowledge of modern is a lot better than the other formats.
Definitely. I'm not going to lie, I love doing coverage.
Good fun.
So I got into this years back now. I've probably been covering for Dark Sphere now for 3 or 4 years. So the very, very first RPTQ, the very first one that got held
here.
When it was held here, I qualified for it. I got on camera with my green-white Collected Company deck, teched for the weekend with the 2 copies of Citadel Siege in the main deck. That card was amazing all day. +1/+1, 2+1/+1 counters on a creature. Do you know what's really good at tapping? Rabble Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did make that against a red deck, and he never attacked with a Rabble Master. It was really bad for him when I had Death Misraptor, Hornet Nest. It was pretty bad for him at that point. But I managed to get on camera. I managed to have this wonderful game 2 where I went cast Collected Company, brick, didn't hit anything. Coverage was like, oh no, it's really bad for him. Untapped, attacked, and put a Boon Satyr and lethaled him anyway. I was like, okay, well, better to be lucky than good.
Got to love Boon Satyr. That was such a fun magic card.
But we've got to go. Got into this, did a couple of things. Started doing it with you, which has been really enjoyable. I've loved doing this.
We've been having a good time here and seeing all these weird and wonderful decks. This shop is great. You don't get the best deck in here, or
but you don't need it.
No,
you don't need the best players to make good coverage content. You don't. You just need to have fun.
There's a very good mix of decks.
You need to enjoy what you're doing, and you need to see random things. And quite frankly, doing coverage at store events is amazing because it's phenomenal the amount of different players you get and different random decks you get as well. And that's one of the joys of coverage. And I will be looking very much forward to next week as well.
Yeah. I believe we should be getting a lot more people from in the next sort of few weeks.
We're going to try
a lot
and
of
do a
people
bit
coming
more
back home now from sort of Christmassy stuff.
Yes, because universities will be back a bit more.
Universities are coming back. So yeah, London, especially the shop in particular, you get a lot more people. Once they're fully settled into their routine again.
Yes,
because it has still just
get rid of the exams.
Yeah.
Get rid of those start of year exams, and hopefully we will have a few more players and we'll be able to bring a bit more live coverage. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm hoping to do Monday again with Jack because that was amazing.
Yes, that was good fun.
Pauper is so much fun. Like commentating that, I've gone and like bought like a pile of cards, and he said, "It has cost you £7.50." I'm like, sweet. This format seems great.
But not the hymn to Toro.
No, the hymns are for legacy. The hymns are definitely for legacy. We're going to try and delve some people at some point in legacy, but. That brings us to the end of the stream.
Yep.
Anything else you'd like to add before we finish?
No. I mean, we'll have your comments from next week. Make sure you come back at the same time, 7 p.m. GMT. So for you Canadians out there, we have people from Peru from the other day. There was signing in some people from Brazil and Spain and other peoples that I've seen. So, yes, good night. Buenas noches. Arrivederci.
But no, thank you very much for watching. For myself, John Partridge, Chris Wingrave, thank you very much for watching. See ya.
See ya.